Yes. Oh man. Very, very excited to be here. I get to do my favorite thing in the world, and that's talk football. I am streaming to you live on YouTube, Twitch, and Instagram. The one thing I want to point out is that if you're following me on Instagram and you have a comment, it doesn't flow over on StreamYard. So if you have a comment, jump on YouTube, and that way I can go ahead and read it. So, Slasher, what's up, brother? The final hour of the show is going to be a good one. I have Keaton from Keaton Talks Sports, and he's going to join us for the final hour. We're going to talk fantasy football and college football. I really want to dive into fantasy football. I helped somebody out on their fantasy football league. They picked up Ramondre Stevenson before week 1. I told this individual to start Stevenson. I forget who he had instead. I also told the same individual who has another league to pick up J.K. Dobbins. He started Dobbins, and he ended up winning both leagues. Now, keep in mind, he needed a Monday night performance from Jake Moody to get it done. But my goal this year is to help as many people as possible win their fantasy football leagues. So that's something really big. But I also want to dive into college football. I want to do a lot of college football. What do you think for a Pitts for likely trade? Too risky. It's a half PPR. Man, what a great question. Vlad Freak 22, one of my Twitch followers here, or maybe you're not a Twitch follower, but it's from the Twitch stream. I'm a level with you. I'm a big fan of both players. I watched a bunch of both of them in college. I'm gonna level with you. I like it, and I'll tell you why. Andrews doesn't look the same. He just doesn't. He's coming off an injury. He's getting a little older. So I think likely he's going to get more and more snaps. Another thing is that Rashad Bateman's injury prone. Zay Flowers is the real deal, but I have a hard time looking at Zay Flowers and like, this is my number one dude. Like this is my number one guy. As far as Kyle Pitts, I remember when he was a true freshman at Florida, my buddy Denver Gator, in case you can't figure it out, big Florida Gators fan. I was like, have you seen this guy? And goes over 1,000 yards. His rookie season, second tight end in NFL history to do this. The other one was Mike Ditka. And Mike Ditka did it, I think, in 1960. It was ridiculous. I mean, so when you go over 1,000 yards as a rookie tight end, it's phenomenal. But then gets injured a whole year. I'm not. So here's the drill. I would make this trade. I know it's risky. And a lot of you may be saying, look, likely, hey, Dan, likely had that great week 1 performance. He's not going to do it again. Why won't he do it again? Andrews is getting less and less playing time. He's inexpensive. Here's the drill. Likely is a former college receiver who's learning to play tight end. And Baltimore wisely said, you know what? Forget this whole blocking thing. We got that covered. Just we need another receiver. And I really think that's what Baltimore's going to do. I would make the move. I really would. And yes, it is risky because Kyle Pitts has all the talent in the world. Kyle Pitts is basically a big receiver. He's being mismanaged. You have a defensive-minded head coach. You got a team that scored 10 points. I don't know what his stats was week 1. I know likely went over 100 and almost had 2 touchdowns. He had 1. But likely is the real deal. Everything in Atlanta right now offensively is not good. Not good. And I don't know when it's going to be figured out. They got John Robinson, who I also think Tyler Aguilar is a guy that they need to figure out. But to answer your question, I absolutely would make this move. I 100% would make this move. I think likely he's going to have a big season. Look, if Kyle Pitts blows up next week against Philly, I'm sorry. But would I make this move? 100%. Yeah, I really would. Half PPR league, yeah. Likely's the real deal. I think Likely's going to put up some monster numbers. I don't know if he's going to go for over 100 again next week against the Raiders, but the Raiders have a good defense. But I saw some things I didn't like against the Chargers. I saw some things. I saw some things I didn't like about the Chargers. J.K. Dobbins, for example, had 4 yards in the first half, ended up with 130. That's not good. That's not good. Slasher, did you see what Vic Fangio said about Bryce Huff? He had a lowest snap count of our 4 edges that rotated in. Didn't really look impressive in the first game. Did you know how tough Fangio is? No, I didn't. But the one thing about Bryce Huff is the one thing I never understood about the Jets was why Bryce Huff didn't play more, because he got to play a very limited time, but he, looked really, really, really good. And for some reason, he wasn't starting. He wasn't getting a lot of playing time, but you can see the athleticism and the ability. And I was like, what's the deal? So I really thought he might get a little more playing time. Remember, you got rid of Hassan Reddick. So, by the way, that looks like a complete disaster for the Jets right now, but smart move by the Eagles. But I didn't see what he said. No, I didn't. Slasher, by the way, if you have my links on social media, send me that. I'm going to admit yesterday. Look, I'm trying to build up my YouTube channel. I want to do everything I can. Yesterday, I spent a little more time than I should on the presidential debate. I watched a little bit of it. So, but I have a lot of fantasy football advice for you. What I might do going forward is do fantasy football Wednesdays, college football Thursdays. But of course, I want to break down Thursday night because the NFL did a fantastic job on Thursday night football. I think it's like the first 6 or 7 games are must see TV. And I think like there's like I think it's the 7th week where it's like Saints and Jags or something, that's like, but we'll have to wait and see. But the first 6 Thursday night games are A+, and I kind of want to dive into detail. I have a lot to talk about Thursday night football in terms of fantasy football. And just some trends are going on, but there's some interesting things going on there. I got the B in the Back Talk Brothers, the great one, the talent, Gooch. Yeah, Gooch. I'm doing Afternoon Delight Monday through Friday, 5 days a week. I'm toying around with just going Tuesday through Friday in the future. That way I can spend Monday just watching as much of the Sunday games. I haven't signed up for the Sunday ticket yet, but the NFL Network has done a fantastic job about showing the games and showing the replays. My sister's granted me the NFL Plus option, which I haven't downloaded yet. I have a new TV, but blah, blah, blah. Anyway, but right now my goal is Monday through Friday, 3 hours of football talk, all questions answered, anything goes. But yeah, man, I am so excited. I got the talent. I got the great one. And this is just beyond awesome. I love it. I love it. I got Gooch here. This is just really, 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 really great. Got some love here for Gooch. Perry! Perry. God, my Canadian brother. Oh, God, I love Perry. I'm so glad he's here, man. Quinn has a great question. T. Higgins or Amari Cooper for the rest of the season? This is a good question. This is a good question, and this is a tough one. And I'll tell you why. Amari Cooper didn't do much week 1. Don't worry about it. He'll do better. T. Higgins is an interesting situation because as of right now, he didn't practice. He may not play against Kansas City. Cincinnati is a it's kind of a weird situation. You have some holes in the offensive line. Jamar Chase, like they're going back and forth, but eventually he's going to get paid. You got 2 youngsters on the Cincinnati Bengals. Didn't really perform very well week 1, but they're talented young players. Jerry Jeudy had a touchdown last week. When Nick Chubb comes back, that's going to take some things away. I think the lawsuit against Watson. I had a buddy of mine tell me that there's big Cowboys fan was like they were anti Deshaun Watson. Like Watson tried to help a lineman up and lineman shoot him away or something like that. I didn't see it. I've always had a man crush on Amari Cooper. I think he's more reliable. I think he's more dependable. So I would go with Amari Cooper, and the reason why I say that is because when Jamar Chase gets his contract, it's just a matter of time. He's going to get a lot of touches. Of course, Joe Burrow is more familiar with Jamar Chase, teammates in college. You have 2 young guys that they're going to rely and depend on. Zach Moss is a guy that I'm high on. So I would go with Amari Cooper just because one thing about Cooper is I think even though I don't know the stats for week 1, I know it wasn't great. I can count on Cooper for 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns. With Higgins, I have no idea. Ideally, this isn't your wide receiver number 1, but if you have to go with either one, I take Cooper. It's more steady. I say this in one of these weeks, you're going to get Cooper is going to have 4 catches, 40 yards, and Higgins is going to have like a 5-catch, 110-yard, 2-touchdown performance. You're going to be mad at me. Cooper will give you more steady performance. Higgins, you have these flash plays. He may not even play against Kansas City. So you get a lot more consistency. So I would go with Amari Cooper. But ideally, this is your wide receiver or flex. This isn't your main dude. But I would go with Cooper. Ooh, Sergio Kincaid for McBride. Oh God. Two of my big draft crushes. Trey McBride is a guy I absolutely love. The Colorado State. Colorado. This is the first tight end who I watched in college be like the featured guy. I've never really seen that. Even with Kyle Pitts, who I loved at Florida, he wasn't really the guy. McBride was. And I keep in mind Colorado State's, of course, the Mountain West Conference. Dalton Kincaid did some things at Utah that I still gush about. This is such a tough one because I didn't get a chance to get into it yet, but Marvin Harrison Jr. I am predicting will score his first NFL touchdown against the Rams next week. Marvin Harrison Jr. 1 catch, 4 yards. You got to get him more involved. You got to get him more involved. I saw something, I think it was on ESPN, where Kyler Murray said, "It's not my job to make sure that he's involved in the offense." It kind of is, you get a guy that is the 4th overall pick in the draft. You get a guy that's that talented. You need to find a way to get him involved. Throw him he's 6'4", get him involved. That said, he really seems more comfortable going with McBride. Dalton Kincaid has a legitimate chance to be the number 1 guy in Buffalo. I know Buffalo wants to run the ball. They also have another tight end that's pretty good. They're also really high on Keon Coleman. They use some different things. So it's a really tough option here because they're two guys that I really like. If it's just for next week, 1 week alone, man, that's a real good one. I'll be honest with you, I like McBride like this much better, and the reason why I say that is that the Bills' offense, keep in mind, 34 points and I think 31 of them was in 3 quarters. And Josh Allen, by the way, spoiler alert, I have some more information here, but Josh Allen is a must play Thursday Night Football. I got some information all over Thursday Night Football. If you got Kincaid and you have the opportunity for McBride, man, it's a tough one, but I would pull the trigger on it. But I'll be honest, it's almost splitting hairs. If you're just straight up, you may get a little more performance out of McBride. I will say this. I was really disappointed in Arizona. Remember, they were up 17-3, lost that game. I think it was 34-29, if I remember correctly. Also, they needed a special teams touchdown to get it competitive. Jonah Williams is on the IR. He was their starting right tackle. I was talking to Corey, a.k.a. the Red Sea. Jonah Williams is on IR. Just saw it. It's unsure how long he's going to be out, how much of that have an impact on it. I think that it'll have an impact in the positive for McBride because McBride's a big target, nice soft hands. We're Buffalo. I know that they have a lot of different things that they want to do. You're not. Yeah, I'm a level with you. I like both of these guys. They're both two of my big draft crushes. They're two guys that I really like. McBride, maybe this much. I have some plays for tight ends. Off the top of my head, I actually had the Jonah Williams injury right up here. The one thing I will say about McBride is that, remember, Ernest Jones got shipped late in preseason to Tennessee, but the front seven looked pretty good against the Lions. Now, keep in mind what they did. What the Rams did was they wanted to make sure Amon-Ra and they wanted to make sure Laporte didn't beat them, but Jameson Williams had a big game. I could see them doing the same thing about McBride. I will say this: Marvin Harrison Jr. will score his first touchdown. That's my big prediction. But yeah, I like it. Not a huge amount, but I think Kyler Murray, just judging from his actions or words, saying, "Hey, it's not my job to get you more involved." It kind of is. If I'm being honest, it kind of is. But it seems like he's much more comfortable going to McBride. So Lamar for Mahomes. Oh boy. I would not make that move, and I'm going to tell you why. Okay, full disclosure, Sergio, by the way, I love it. Love it. Love it. I am a Chiefs fan. Diehard Chiefs fan. Okay? Longtime Chiefs fan. Lamar put up monster numbers, 270 yards passing, over 120 yards rushing. The Raiders defense is kind of impressive. Don't like what they did in the second half. I'm kind of expecting Derrick Henry to play a little more. Remember, 5 carries in the opening drive, 13 carries for the whole game. What the hell? If you run the ball 16 times a game, you're not going to last. There's 3 new offensive linemen for the Baltimore Ravens, and they did a terrible job. I know I may sound a little. I'm a Chiefs fan, but one thing I will say, Christian Wilkins looks like a beast. All right. I wouldn't do it because I think that with those 3 linemen, they didn't play well. You're going to get you're in a very look at what you're going against. Trey Hendrickson for the Bengals had 17.5 sacks. TJ Watt looks like defensive player of the year. I mean, he dominated that game. He absolutely dominated that game. And then you also got Myles Garrett. By the way, Baltimore, the Raiders have a really good defensive line. I know they played Dallas too, so I would not make that move. The reason why I say that is that the way that Lamar played and the way that offensive line looked, he's not going to last the whole season. Mahomes is much more likely to last the whole season. By the way, I mean, keep in mind, I'm a Chiefs fan. I am a Chiefs fan. That was not Mahomes' best game. Almost 300 yards and a touchdown. Had that really bad interception. So I would not make that move. Keep in mind, I'm not making that move mainly because I don't think Lamar's going to hold up. That offensive line looked really bad. That really, really looked bad. Yeah, I can see that. I love Dalton Kincaid, and I think he's going to. I think both Kincaid and McBride are guys that are going to have great seasons. But just that one reception for 4 yards does bother me. They got to get Marvin Harrison Jr. more involved. But it really looks like Kyle Murray is comfortable. Just he's going to throw jump balls to McBride, and that's kind of the way I see it. I got one Pride 40. What's up, brother? Oh, what a great question. Zaire White or Jeff Wilson, non-PPR? Ooh, boy. Oh, man. Oh, God, that's a good one. Zaire White didn't play bad. Keep in mind, I expect the Baltimore Ravens to be really, really tough. I also think the Minnesota Vikings are going to be really, really tough. So, I mean, oh, God, that's a I'm going to look up the stats real fast here. Wait a minute. So let's see here. 5 carries, 26 yards, by the way, I was going to go into a little more detail about this. Mostert's out. I don't know how long. Archain, questionable. Here's the deal. I really don't expect Zaire White to really have a good game against the Ravens. I just don't. I really don't. And also, I also liked what I saw out of Madison too. 13 carries, 44 yards. I didn't have that memorized. I had to look it up. What a great question. This week, I would go Wilson. Long term, I would go White. The reason why I say that is because when Mostert becomes healthy, he's going to be the main dude. Okay, they love Archain. He's not going to be healthy. He's always going to miss time. But I would go with Zaire White. Ideally, these are not number 1 options or number 2 options. There's some other running backs that may be available on the waiver wire that you may want to get. The one thing is that even though White and Madison, kind of similar guys, Madison looked a little better. I think Zaire White is the guy that the Raiders are going to rely on more on the end zone. So Two options that aren't really great, but I would go Sadir White total for the whole season. This week, if you're in a just to pick them for this week and it's down to these two, I would go Wilson this week only. This week only. But for the whole year, I would go White. Great question, man. Great question. Dan, your must-see game in week 2. So many of them. Thursday night's going to be great. Dolphins and Bills 1-0. This is the playoff. This is a playoff. Remember last year, Bills win, they win the division. Dolphins win, they win the division. So I mean, you absolutely. I think Buffalo and Miami's got to be it. But there's some also really really good games I want to look at. The Saints blowing out the Panthers against Dallas, fun game. If you're a Lions fan, you're probably saying Lions-Bucks has got to be it. Playoff matchup from last year, could be playoff positioning this year. Really, really important game. Of course, I'm a Chiefs fan. Chiefs and Bengals. Joe Burrow's 3-1 against Patrick Mahomes. So, I mean, you can go with those. I really think it's Thursday night, though. I really do, because the winner of this game really, really takes a step up in that AFC East, especially with the Jets losing. And even though me and Keaton Talks Sports, he'll join us in the final hour, Keaton Talks Sports and I both have New England winning. Let's be honest, though. Let's be honest. New England this year is probably not a threat to win the AFC East. Buffalo and Miami, very big game. I really think Thursday night's the number one. If the Bengals play like they did in week 1, Kansas City will blow them out. I agree completely. I normally don't like saying teams are looking ahead, but I really, really, really believe it. I really, really, really believe it. I really think that the Bengals kind of overlooked the Patriots and were going against Kansas City and really had Kansas City circled on their calendar. I really believe that. Hey, Danny! Daniel Jack Ryan, awesome! Dude, I don't recognize you, brother. So, man, make sure you subscribe, man. Give me a thumbs up. I got some new names in here. This is fantastic here. What's up, everyone? Trey Lucudo. I mean, we need some more Eagles fans in here, man. Cap for life. This is awesome, man. This is awesome. Start McBride. Yeah. 14-team PPR. My team, Allen, great. Allen, great. Art Chain, real fast. Checked injury report. He's questionable. Check the injury report. All right. He may not play tomorrow. Keep an eye out on that. Rice, great. Pittman could come back. McBride, need a flex. Options: Shakir, Coleman, Benson, Bigsby, Parkinson, Dorich, Wilson. Do I go after Zeke or Zach Moss or Sadir? Okay, I'm gonna give you something. I like Zach Moss. I might go after Zeke. And the reason why I say that is that I think it was 10 carries, 40 yards, and a touchdown. Not the same dude. I think you're going to get some more. I think you're going to get some touchdowns with Zeke. I like Zach Moss too. If you need a guy, it's a PPR league. Zeke, underrated receiver. I was a little disappointed that they didn't use Zach Moss a little more in the receiving game, but it's one thing the Bengals I've noticed that they don't like to throw to their backs, and I'm not really sure why. You may want to go with Zeke. Shakir and Coleman, those guys are solid. Parkinson, Dorich they were looking at Dorich a lot. This week, keep an eye on the injury report. I'd probably go with Jeff Wilson this week because Archain, He's questionable. Mozart's out. I've been monitoring this because for some reason or another, so I'm using BetUS. Now I got an association with affiliation with BetUS. So when you sign up, if you make a $100 deposit BetUS, I get paid. Okay. Full disclosure. Because I set up an account with BetUS, so I'm using the numbers from BetUS. ESPN Bet had 2.5. Miami is a 2.5 point favorite, where BetUS had 1, but BetUS has jumped from 1 to 2. So action is being put on Miami. Full disclosure, I like Buffalo to win this game. I'm really tempted to go ahead and go money line. So. But I'm paying a lot of attention to this. I'm probably going to pass betting on the game. If our chain's out, you got to go Wilson. This week, I would definitely go Wilson. With Dorich, I have to admit, there's no way Marvin Harrison Jr., 1 catch, 4 yards. There's no way that happens. No way that happens. Bigsby, if I remember correctly, what was it? I think it was like 11 carries, 73 yards. I don't expect that again. But if they're kind of splitting carries there, Bigsby's an interesting option. Keep an eye out on the injury report. If Archain's out, you have to go Wilson. You have to go Wilson. Between Zeke, Moss, and Sadir White, I would rule out Sadir White out of those 3. I have to admit that Zeke's obviously not the same guy, but I do think there's a chance that he could score over 10 touchdowns this year. Also, one thing is that I think they're going to use him a little more in a passing game. I have no idea why Cincinnati doesn't like throwing to their running backs. So I would go after Zeke, but I wouldn't be mad at you if you went Zach Moss either, because Moss is a 3-down back that I really like. Whatever reason, Cincinnati doesn't like throwing to their backs. That's just the scheme of the offense. So hopefully it helps you out. Cap for life. Let me know how you do. A little love for Cap, man. A little love for Trey, man. Pete's Takes. What's up, Dan? Yo, Cap. What's up, dude? This man gives out great plays. Bro, money, Dan is in the name. Yeah, I went 2-0 in my bets. I took Kansas City, obviously. I took New England, which I was saying was going to win, but I didn't take the money line. I took 9 points. I thought that was a no-brainer. I passed on the Jets. I almost took the Jets. I'm really, really tempted to put money on Buffalo money line. Forget the 2 points. BetUS has plus 120. So for those of you that aren't familiar with sports betting, plus 120 means if I make a $100 bet, I win 120. So you get the way it works out is you would get basically an extra 20%. So, if you bet 50, what's 20% of 50, 10? Yeah. Okay, come on, Dan, you know better than that. So let's say you bet $50, you would win 60. I'm tempted to do that. I'm going to pass betting on it, but I'm really, really tempted. I have a feeling I'm going to come on Friday's show and I'm going to say, I knew I should pick Buffalo, but yeah. Pete's Takes, by the way, is a Dolphins fan. Here I am telling you Buffalo's going to win. He's giving me some love and I'm picking against his team. But by the way, Pete's Takes has a YouTube channel. It's called Pete's Takes. I love his channel. I don't have the description, but if you're watching this, subscribe to Pete's Takes. Check out his channel. By the way, Pete, I'm waiting for an invite. I've never been invited on your show. Just throwing that out there. Pete's Takes actually has been a guest on this show, and every time he's been, he's knocked it out of the park. And hopefully I can get him to come on the afternoon show because he is awesome. I'm going to just go with MK and hopefully you're not insulted, but I know I would butcher that. Trade Kelsey for Marvin Harrison Jr. Have Bowers already as my backup tight end. MHJ. I'm assuming you're talking Marvin Harrison Jr. Have Bowers already as my backup tight end. If it's Marvin Harrison Jr., I'm gonna throw you something crazy. If you're talking Marvin Harrison Jr., the answer is yes. Yes, but Bowers is your backup tight end. Who's your starter? So, I mean, so is Kelsey your starter and you want to go with Bowers and you want to add Marvin Harrison Jr.? Is that the question? If so, I actually like that. Keep in mind, who are your other receivers? Who are your other receivers? And the reason why I say that is me and Travis Kelce share a birthday. I know exactly when his birthday is. He's going to be 35 soon. And Father Time's undefeated. 3 catches, 37 yards. I think you're going to see a lot more of that. I really do. I really do. I've been saying for a long time, Kelsey significantly slowed down. He's not the same guy. You have some other options in Kansas City. I mean, I say this and you watch Kelsey, you'll have 2 touchdowns against the Bengals, but if Kelsey and Bowers are your backup tight ends, okay, let me rewind. Is Kelsey your starter and Bowers is your backup, and you have an opportunity to trade for MHJ, Marvin Harrison Jr.? The answer is yes, I would make the move, and the reason why is I think Marvin Harrison Jr. Will get much more involved in that offense. There's no way he goes 1 for 4 again the rest of the year. There's no way. That said, who are your receivers? Give me a little more information here. But by the way, would I start Bowers over Kelsey? Yes. And I'm a Chiefs fan. Bowers, I think it was, if I remember right, was it 6 for 56? I should have that number. I was just looking at it, but Bowers is going to be much more involved in that offense. And also, I also have been saying this for a while. It wouldn't surprise me if Devontae Adams is moved at the trade deadline. Wouldn't surprise me if he's moved at the trade deadline. Oh, you're friends with Pete? Yeah, Pete's awesome. I had the Bengals, man. Hey, Pete, thank you so much for joining, man. Please come on. Please, I hope I get you on as guest. By the way, I normally don't do this, but why haven't I gotten an invite? Anyway, I love that. Yeah, the Cards are stuck with Murray. It was kind of funny. Me and Corey, aka the Red Sea, when the Cardinals had that pick, that's how we met, because both of us were like, no, we don't want Kyler Murray. The way the contract's set up, it's very difficult to do that. It's very, very difficult to do that. You don't really have the option to trade him, but there's been issues. God, he's so exciting to watch, so much fun. This is saying a lot, but he may be the greatest Texas high school player ever. Texas high school football. Kyler Murray may be the greatest Texas high school football player of all time. That's saying a lot. But yeah, they're stuck with him. 300 yards, still a solid game. 300 yards for most quarterbacks is a great game. I think you're being too hard on Mahomes. Yeah, he had just under 300 yards. But the thing is, though, for Mahomes, that's like a so-so game. That's a so-so game. And the interception was really bad. I'm gonna level with you. Cincinnati's always done a good job against Mahomes, but I mean, would I trade? The question was, why trade Lamar for Mahomes? Absolutely not, because I have no faith in that Baltimore offensive line. I have no faith that Lamar Jackson's going to play 17. So I got sent to Blue Sea Turtle. What a great name. I got sent to trade in a PPR league. Do you think I should accept it? Is Garrett Wilson and Travis Etienne for Xavier Worthy and Bijan? Great question. Okay, so it's Garrett Wilson and you get okay. So let me see if I get this right. If you get Garrett Wilson and Travis Etienne, and you're giving up Worthy and Bijan Robinson, I would do it. Absolutely. And the reason why is Garrett Wilson is when I was really surprised at Rodgers just ignoring Mike Williams and Garrett Wilson, I think, is going to have a massive year. And by the way, Xavier Worthy, I know he had 2 touchdowns week 1. Great. He's not scoring more than 8 touchdowns all year. I'm letting you know that right now. But John Robinson, one of my favorite players. Travis Etienne, they didn't really use him that much. I'm a little surprised because I really thought it would be more Etienne. They used a lot more Bigsby, but Travis, or was it Tyler Aguilar, the other guy in Atlanta? I really thought they would use him a little more. I have no faith in the Atlanta's offense at all. I'm not really sure what they're doing. I mean, granted, TJ Watt's TJ Watt. I mean, but look, you're at home, season opener, 10 points. I mean, I know Cousins is rusty, but you drafted a quarterback. If you're the one who's getting Garrett Wilson and Travis Etienne, and you're giving up Xavier Worthy and Bijan Robinson, I'm gonna love what John Robinson is a dude I remember watching as a true freshman at Texas, and I love it. And I love Bijan Robinson. Travis Etienne is a guy I really think could put up like CMC numbers from last year. If you're the one who can get Garrett Wilson and Travis Etienne, I would strongly recommend you do it. Hollywood Brown, I'm watching injury report on that, but when Hollywood Brown comes in, Xavier Worthy is going to come out. All right. Xavier Worthy is more of a long-term type of deal. I know he had 2 touchdowns. Great. He's probably not getting more than 5 touches in a game. You're easily getting 5 touches more between the both of them. I don't have faith in Atlanta. So if you can get Garrett Wilson, Travis Etienne, I definitely would do it. Garrett Wilson, I think, is the number 1 option. Travis Etienne, I really was not happy with the way they used him. Keep in mind, you scored 17 in the first half. You scored nothing in the second half. I'm not sold on the Miami Dolphins having a great defense. I'm not. That's also the reason why I'm not betting on Thursday night, is because I really want to see what Miami. I want to see maybe. So what it is that Miami has a new defensive coordinator. I came in from it was the Baltimore Ravens. It's Anthony Weaver. He was the Ravens defensive line coach, really widely respected around the NFL. Brand new defensive coordinator. He's replacing Vic Fangio. A lot of holes in that Miami Dolphins defense. So my point is that I don't know if it's a fluke or what's going on. Maybe it's a great defensive coordinator, but I was not happy with the way that Jacksonville really didn't utilize Travis Etienne. I would go ahead and do it. I think it's the end of Bowers. Yeah, Bowers is going to be the number 1 option. I actually think Devontae Adams is a guy I'm really expecting to be moved at the trade deadline. And the reason why is that Raiders know that they need draft capital. They need a quarterback, and that's the most enticing option. So, yeah, Bowers, they're going to look towards Bowers being the number 1 dude. You're sending, okay, so you're sending Lamar and you're getting Mahomes. Yeah, make that. Make that. Yeah, absolutely. Friendly Lace 06. Are we still trusting Drake London? When he's healthy, he's really good. I am so okay. So brain freeze. I'm 45 minutes into the show. When the Atlanta Falcons signed their head coach, he was the interim head coach. Another brain freeze. Dan Quinn. So he was the interim when Dan Quinn was let go. Drawing a blank on his name. He should have got the job then. Okay, he should have got the job then. Instead, they went outside the box. They signed Arthur Smith, tried him out for 3 years, 3 losing seasons, didn't work out. You're bringing in a defensive-minded coach. I like that you brought in Cousins. Then you draft a quarterback in the first round. I'm still not completely happy with this. He has some injury issues. Had some injury issues at USC. Had some injury issues in the NFL. Long-winded explanation. I no, you can't trust. I don't trust anything on the Falcons offense right now. 10 points against a good Steelers defense. Yeah, I get that. You're playing a good Eagles defense, and you're going to Philly on Monday night. I think it's just, the way things are going. Look, you draft a guy 8th overall. You got Cousins coming off of an injury. The team looks bad. No, I'm not trusting Drake London at all. If he's starting for you, what other options do you have? But no, I'm not. Giveaway Adams for Mike Evans. Ooh, that's a good one. I like Mike Evans quite a bit. I like the Baker Mayfield fit with Tampa. I like the fact that Tampa was able to bring in and keep Baker Mayfield, and also like the fact that they're able to keep Mike Evans 2 touchdowns. He's going to have 1,000 yards. He's probably going to have 8 to 10 touchdowns. Here's the issue with Adams. All right. I think he's going to be moved. If he gets moved to a team where he can make an impact, you're going to hate me if I say make this move. But right now, you have no idea. Don't be surprised if Adams has over 100 yards and a touchdown or 2 against Baltimore, because I could see him getting a garbage touchdown. Full disclosure, I expect the Ravens to win handily. But I can see Adams getting a touchdown. The thing is with Mike Evans is he's not going to be targeted as much as Godwin. He's really not. Godwin had more receptions, more yards, had 1 touchdown versus Evans too. With Evans, I think Evans is almost a lock for 1,010, some 8 to 10 touchdowns. So keep in mind though, if Devontae Adams has moved it to trade deadline, which I am expecting Adams to be moved at the trade deadline. If he goes to a team where he can have an impact right away, then you're gonna hate me. But yeah, I would do that. Keep in mind, both these guys are not really. I'm gonna say something a little controversial. I think both these guys are number 2s, flex options. These shouldn't really be your number 1 guys. But with Evans, you're going to probably get a little more consistent production. With Adams, I don't know. The Raiders' offense is not good, and Minshew's not the answer. So yeah, I would make this move. Zeke is more of a short yards running back nowadays. Yeah, exactly. The one thing I do like is that Zeke is an underrated receiver, and I do like they got touchdown. I actually would not be surprised if he has like 700 yards on the ground, another 300 to 400 in the air, but he may get 10 to 12 touchdowns. So that's something. If our chain is out, do I pick up Wilson or start Dowdle, Irving, or Madison? These are my running backs on the bench. I would pick up Wilson. I apologize because I know that he's out. Mozart's out for this week. I don't know how long he's going to be out. If our chain is out, I would pick up Wilson because Wilson's going to be the bell cow back. Now, what they did is they drafted Jalen Wright out of Tennessee in the 4th round. He was inactive. The one issue about Wright is that he's built like Alvin Kamara, had a great combine, has some tape that makes you like go, oh my God. Had like 100 touches at Tennessee last year. That's another thing is that, if you have all this talent and you only get 100 touches in a whole season in college, that's a red flag. 4 fumbles. If you're talented in college and you fumble the ball, that's one thing. You got other options in the NFL and you put the ball on the ground. No. So I would pick up Wilson. I don't have a lot. I know he got some touches, but I just don't see it. Irvin's a guy I am really high on. For those of you who don't know, it's Bucky Irvin. He's the 4th round pick out of, if I remember correct, it's Oregon in Tampa Bay, and I think he's going to get a little more playing time. And here's another thing is that is your league a PPR league? Because I think he had some receptions. I don't know his numbers, but I know he got some touches, and I like the fact that they're going to more of a 2-back system. That said, Rashad, I want to say Rashad White. I should know the Bucs starting running back's name because I kind of gushed on him. I made a video about the AFC South. I probably won't finish it. I might just put out the clips of my picks for the divisions, but sorry, I'm babbling now. I would the short answer is I would pick up Wilson. I would drop Dowdle, and the reason why I say that is Dallas picked up Dalvin Cook. I think it's just a matter of time before he kind of takes over and Dowdle goes to like kind of backup role. Yeah, I would. By the way, yeah. Sooner or later, Dalvin Cook's going to get some playing time. Of course, I said that last year with the Jets, and it didn't happen. So I don't know what the whole situation is, but I would 100% pick up Wilson. So yeah. I don't. I think it's just because he just signed. I do cap for life. You're right. This is my first fantasy football show. So that's actually a great idea. That's a great idea. Later today, I have Keaton Talks Sports. We're going to talk college, but I'm hoping Keaton Talks Sports has some fantasy advice for you guys if you guys have some questions. By the way, hey, listen, one thing about the show, all questions are answered, anything goes. So even though I brought Keaton Talks Sports on here, we're going to talk a little college, and I have some college questions for him. If you want to pepper him with some fantasy questions, he better be ready. He's coming in the last hour. So yeah, great idea. Cap for life, man. I hope to hear more from you. These are you're on fire, man. By the end of the season, Coleman would be the Bills' number 1 option. I think maybe this season Allen F. No, that won't happen. And I'll go into that. I meant to do that at the beginning of the show, but I have some interesting numbers for you coming up here, and we'll do that at hour 2 because I do want to talk about Bills Dolphins. Ooh. So MK I have Kelsey and Bowers picking up Harrison Jr. for Kelsey. Other receivers, oh my God, so Cooper Kupp and CD Lamb, you're dominating. More than likely you're looking for a flex, and do you want to go with Harrison Jr. or Kelsey? You want to start Bowers over Kelsey? The answer is yes. And by the way, I know I'm saying this, and there's a good chance Kelsey goes for 7 catches, 70 yards, and a pair of touchdowns against the Bengals. Good chance he could do that. Harrison Jr., there's no excuse for 1 for 4. And I really, really, really believe that he's going to have 1,000 yards this year. Is he my guy for rookie of the year? No, he's not. But the answer is yeah, because I think Bowers will outproduce Kelsey for the remainder of the year. And I know I'm a Chiefs fan, so sacrilege. But Devontae Adams, they're going to move on. I firmly believe that they're going to move on from Devontae Adams, try to get some trade capital so they can get a legit quarterback in there. Bowers is a guy. Keep in mind, Bowers had some injury issues in college, but Kelsey turns 35 in a couple of weeks. Harrison Jr. also all the talent in the world. I would make this move. Keep in mind, what are the other options for flex? And then your league is a PPR league. So Kelsey and Terry or MJR and Bowers. No, I like I apologize. I'm drawing a blank on Terry. But I like Bowers over Kelsey and MHJ. I really like MHJ. I really do. You have him as your flex. That would be a really, really good option. Really good. I do like Bowers more than Kelsey. I would be trading for Brian Thomas Jr. He'll be the number one option. You know what, Perry? For those of you who don't know, Perry has been saying since March, Brian Thomas Jr. is his number one guy in the number one wide receiver in the draft. And he's been saying this since March. Brian Thomas Jr. had a touchdown. And by the way, all preseason, I've been following a lot of social media, and Brian Thomas Jr. has just been dominating. Now, when you hear that type of news from, Jaguars fans or Jaguars press, you kind of, but there's been other news sources that have been coming into Jacksonville and saying this Brian Thomas Jr. is the guy. Yeah, he looks like he's the guy. And he did have a touchdown, and I don't think they used him nearly enough. So, yeah. Chris T! Welcome. I see a lot of new faces. This is awesome. Hi, Dan. I was wondering who I should sell. Hi, Aaron Jones or Stevenson. I have Puka, and I want to upgrade at my wide receivers because my core is Amari Cooper and Pickens. Who should I get? Oh, boy. Yep. Okay. Who's available? Because, yeah, you do have to upgrade at receiver. Keep in mind, I think Amari Cooper is going to have an upgrade. Pittsburgh's a weird situation because I've been saying this for a while. I would move on from Russell Wilson completely. Justin Fields is going to start because he didn't really get the reps in training camp. You have a new offense. You don't know what you're going to get. It may be a situation where Justin Fields just says, hey, look, I mean, I got Pickens, I got Freiermuth. If they bracket Freiermuth, I'm just going to force things into Pickens. But yeah. But if you're trying to sell either Aaron Jones or Stevenson, you want to sell Aaron Jones. Now, I know he had a good game, but Ramondre Stevenson, as long as he stays healthy, you want to keep him. Now, I spoiler alert, I'm in a sleeper running back that I'm kind of eyeballing this week is Antonio Gibson, the number 2 running back in New England. I've been kind of like, because he had, I think it was 7 carries, 18 yards, and I think he's going to have a much better performance, and he's a guy that is available. If you're trying to get another receiver who's available that you can get, I have some dark horses at receiver. But by the way, I think Amari Cooper might hold on to him. You definitely want to hold on to him. Pickens, I have no idea because Pittsburgh's kind of a weird situation. I feel like a politician here. I'm not answering your question. Okay, who should you sell, Aaron Jones or Stevenson? I would sell Aaron Jones completely. Ramondre Stevenson had some problems staying healthy last year. I'm going to get back to this. I'm going to take a quick commercial break. Normally I do silly commercials. YouTube demonetized this clip because I had a Star Spangled Banner playing in the background. That was a copyright infringement. But if you go to my YouTube channel, you can watch it with Star Spangled Banner. For 9/11, just want to give thanks to the brave first responders that are out there, all the police, firefighters that are doing their job. In this video, I had to take out the Star Spangled Banner. That's copyright infringement, but I hope you enjoyed the commercial anyway. All right. I'm going to be honest with you. If you go to my YouTube channel, you can watch that with the Star Spangled Banner playing in the background, and it's really awesome. Without the music playing in the background, it wasn't really that good. I was really kind of disappointed. But if you go to my YouTube channel, it's a demonetized video. I don't get a strike against my channel, but if I put the music in, the whole live stream is demonetized. Causes some problems, but after watching it without the music, it's not nearly as good. Normally, I like to do silly commercials. The next commercial is kind of silly, so yeah. Chris T, by the way, if I know I didn't really answer your question here. I'm not sure who's available that you can pick up. In the link below, I have you can message me on social media. You can also email me directly at dantalksfootball@yahoo.com. Who is available at wide receiver? As far as selling, I would definitely sell Aaron Jones. Stevenson, as long as he stays healthy. Remember last year he got banged up, but when Stevenson's healthy, he's a legit number one running back. What was it, 120, 125 yards and a touchdown. He did have 3 receptions, only 6 yards. But Stevenson, as long as he's healthy, you got to play him. I think you have to start him. Who's available that you can get? I do have some dark horse players that you may want to pick up. I don't know. I don't know if any of these guys are available, but I'm going to throw some names out here as far as receivers that may be available. Okay, hold on. I had 4 tight ends that are dark horses. So I do. Marvin Harrison Jr. is probably gone, but I am predicting a touchdown. He's probably not available, but you may want to take a look at Chris Olave for the Saints. Two catches for 11 yards last week. He's going against Dallas. I have a sneaky suspicion that he's going to have a good game. He may get a touchdown. I got a weird feeling he's going to have a good game. Chris Olave, I would see if you can maybe get an Aaron Jones for Olave trade. Keep an eye on Chris Olave. 2 catches for 11 yards. He's had back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons his first 2 years in the league. You're switching offensive schemes. You're going to more of a run-based offense. But here's the deal. Chris Olave is turning into a legit number 1 receiver. So you may be able to make a move and get Olave, and then just keep pointing out to whoever has Olave in your league. Hey, look. 2 for 11 last week against a terrible Panthers team. You're going against a great Cowboys team. He's not going to do anything. See if you can get that. You may be able to get Chris Olave, who, by the way, Chris Olave will probably outproduce both Cooper and Pickens this year when everything's said and done. So see if you can get Chris Olave. I think he's a guy that you could probably pick up, and you may be able to get him pretty cheap. Just remember 2 for 11, and he's back-to-back 1,000-yard receiver. He'll have 1,000 yards again this year. So see if you can get Chris Olave. I don't understand why Murray is not building Kim. I don't get that either, man. I don't get that. This is something that I was seeing in training camp. They were gushing all over Marvin Harrison Jr. And then Murray was like, "Oh, it's not my job." Yeah, it is. Harrison Jr. would give Murray better stats, of course. He seems caring more about stats and winning, unless Perry's on fire today. He does, but I definitely still think Travis Etienne's running back number 1. I would keep Jones, be more consistent. I understand that, but I think Stevenson's, as long as Stevenson's healthy, he's a running back number 1. Las Vegas should trade Meyer to get draft capital for the draft. It's funny because Mayer, I mispronounced it. Mayer, Excuse me. Mayer was a guy I absolutely loved. They're calling him Baby Gronk when he was a freshman at Notre Dame, and he wore 87 at Notre Dame. He goes to the Raiders, does absolutely nothing. And I know that they're using a lot of 2 tight end sets, but they're not really taking advantage of Mayer at all. And here's the thing: he was a high 2nd round pick. I don't know what kind of value he has. But I think that here's the problem. You're probably not getting anything more than a 4th or a 5th for him. But I mean, if I was a team and I had a hole at tight end, I would 100% reach out to the Raiders for Mayer. I 100% would do that. But the Raiders, I think, are going to make some moves in the draft and at the trade deadline. To try to get some draft picks because they know that they don't have a quarterback. So maybe the Falcons should trade him, get some draft capital. He seems like he would not. He's talking about Drake London. I agree completely. It's an injury thing, but we'll have to find out. What is Adams' trade value? It depends on what team you're looking at. Situation like a team like New England that's building for the future, you're probably not giving up a lot. Keep in mind it's short term. Could you get a 2nd or a 3rd from a possible playoff contender? Absolutely. I think 2nd. From a playoff contender, because you're looking at less than 50, you're looking at, like 55 to 65, somewhere in that range. You could be looking at it. Could you trade Adams if you're a young building up team? I'm going to throw out New England. Could you give up a 3rd round pick? Remember, New England has 2 3rd round picks thanks to the Judon trade. If you're New England and you say, hey, look, we rework your deal, we'll give you a boatload of money. Could you do that? Absolutely. But if I'm New England, I don't want to give a 2nd round pick for a guy like Adams. I would want to give him maybe a 3rd. But if you're a playoff team, would you give up the 2nd round pick if you needed that one guy? You're one guy short. I mean, let's just have some fun. Let's just have some fun. I mean, I don't think this would ever happen. Let's just have some fun. You're the Rams. Nakuda's out for a while. Trade deadline. You're 5-3. You have a really good chance. You got Stafford. You got Cooper Kupp on the other side. Why not bring in Adams, who would really add something? But you're only going to get them for a short period of time. Would you give up a 3rd? Sure. Would you give up a 2nd? Maybe. Devontae Adams on the Rams would be a lot of fun. I mean, obviously you want to keep Nakuda, but I mean he's I don't know how long he's going to be out. So, Danny, what a great question. We thinking Tony Pollard or Jameson Williams this week? Tony Pollard, no brainer. Tony Pollard had a touchdown last week for the Titans. The Jets' running defense looked awful. Keep in mind, I expect the defense to look a lot better against the Titans. But I think Williams is a flash in the pan. I really do. Another thing is that I think the Tampa defense, I think that they're going to really kind of focus on not giving up the deep ball, keep everything in front of them, standard Tampa 2 defense. This week, Tony Pollard, no-brainer, could have another touchdown. I think Tony Pollard, especially if you're in a PPR league, Tony Pollard may have more receptions than Jameson Williams. So if you're in a PPR league, this is a no-brainer. If you're in a standard league, I would still go Tony Pollard. I think I don't see Williams going over 100 again. I mean, look, you got Laporta, you got 2 really good running backs, you got Amon-Ra St. Brown. The Rams did a really good job taking away Amon-Ra, 3 catches, 14 yards. You think that's going to happen again after they gave him $112 million? No. So Pollard, great question, Danny. Man, I got some new faces. So, also, how do you feel about trading Amari Cooper and Ramondre Stevenson for Zeke and Debo? And if I had to add, absolutely not. No. Chris, all right, so here's Chris. Dude, Cooper is going to be so bad, man. My wide receiver core is Cooper and Pickens while Nakuda is out. I love Zeke's playoff schedule. All right, Chris T, thank you. By the way, I don't recognize you, so thanks for joining. This is the whole point of the show, is to get people to answer questions. So the answer is no. And the reason why is Ramondre Stevenson is a running back number one while he is healthy. While he is healthy, you want to keep Ramondre Stevenson. He's a guy that 28 touches. All right, you're in the PPR league if I'm correct. All right, 28 touches, 3 receptions, 6 yards. It's garbage, but he 28 touches. Now keep in mind, Antonio Gibson is kind of a dark horse. He only had 7 carries, no receptions, 7 carries, 18 yards. I think he'll have a much better game against Seahawks. Here's the deal with Amari Cooper. I don't feel that way at all. I know you had Jerry Jeudy come in. I know Jeudy had a touchdown, but Amari Cooper is the main dude there. I understand that the offensive line is a problem there. In Cleveland, both tackles were out. I haven't had a chance to check out the injury report. I don't know how long both tackles are going to be out. And I know that once Nick Chubb comes back, they're going to revolve the offense more around Chubb. Amari Cooper is still a solid 2. Okay. With Deebo Samuel, there's a couple problems I have with Deebo. Okay. Number one, he can't stay healthy. This is a fact. He's never played a whole year. Never. I you know what? I have to fact check myself on I need an ABC commentator coming in fact check me, but sorry about that. But Deebo's not going to stay healthy. Brandon Ayuk is going to become much more involved in the offense. You also, sometime this year, you're going to get Ricky Purcell, who, for whatever reason, I mean, dude gets shot and he's going to be okay. I mean, that's kind of a grace of God thing, but when you use first round pick on a receiver, then you give the other receiver $120 million. Who's the odd guy out? Well, the odd guy out's the guy that can't stay healthy. And then keep in mind, CMC, when's he coming back? I would absolutely, positively not make this move. You have a legitimate number one in Ramondre Stevenson. You have a legitimate number one in Ramondre Stevenson. You have a guy that can win weeks by himself. The Browns have, listen, I'm sorry, the Bengals. The Bengals have a solid defense, and they were loading up, and they still couldn't really stop him. And Amari Cooper's still solid too. I would absolutely, positively not do this. You needed a wide receiver, right? I get this, and I know you got Nakuda. I brought this up. Is Chris Olave available? 2 catches, 11 yards last week. He's going to have 1,000 yards. Chris Olave, is he a guy that's available? Let me throw out another name. He's on the injury report, but I've been keeping an eye. By the way, I'm a diehard Chiefs fan. Hollywood Brown didn't play week 1. I haven't had a chance to follow up, but if Hollywood Brown is healthy, you may be able to pick him off the waiver wire. He's going to get a lot of touches. Trying to think of another receiver just off the top of my head. I have some dark horses at tight end that I'm kind of low key liking, but Yeah, I as far as this trade, please don't make this trade. Please don't make this trade, because when Debo goes down, you're going to be in a bad situation. Now, keep in mind, by the way, I'm not sold on McConkey either. I know he had a touchdown, and there's a lot of hype around him, but Joshua Palmer, I know he had some drops, but I mean, he's so much more talented. He's got to get involved. Quentin Johnston, former first round pick, I fell in love with. They got to use him more with the Chargers. But I mean, they like McConkey, and I know he had a touchdown, but I mean, ultimately, I think McConkey is going to be one of these guys to get 600 to 800 yards, and that's a ceiling in 5 touchdowns this year. And you're going to get so much more with Amari Cooper, but can you make a trade? Can you make a smaller trade for Chris Olave? Bucky Irving's interesting. He's the backup in Tampa Bay, got some touches. Rashad White is probably going to have a good. They're probably going to use Rashad White. If you're in a PPR league, Rashad White may blow up against the Lions. I wouldn't be surprised if he has about 6 to 8 receptions alone. But Bucky Irvin, I really liked the 1-2 that I saw week 1. Keep in mind, Washington's really bad, but I don't have a lot of faith in the Lions defense either. Cole Bowman, very, very, very good question. Shakir or Charbonnet, half PPR. Oh, what a great question. You know, in any kind of PPR league, I like running backs that can catch the ball. They for whatever reason, Seattle, I thought, should have used Charbonnet a lot more. I really thought should have used Charbonnet a lot more. Shakir is a guy that I like, but I mean, keep in mind Buffalo traded down twice, but they got Keon Coleman there. Normally in a PPR, I would tell you to take the running back. I like Shakir. I'm kind of waffling on this. For the rest of the year, go with Charbonnet, and I'll tell you why. Early on, you're going to like Shakir, and it seems like what they're going to do is they're going to have Kenneth Walker be the main guy. They barely use Charbonnet. Kenneth Walker didn't stay healthy. There's some issues with the offensive line. Charbonnet is an underrated receiver, but they barely used him week 1. They barely used him. I really think Charbonnet is going to get some more touches. Keep in mind, I loved him at Michigan. I really liked him at UCLA. I really liked how they used him at UCLA. I liked how they used Charbonnet last year. They didn't use him the same way. Keep in mind, you have a brand new head coach. But I just have a hard time believing Charbonnet. I mean, I think he had like 3 carries and Walker went over 100 yards. By the way, neither one are really great options, by the way, but Charbonnet is a guy that sooner or later he's going to have like a breakout performance. Another thing is that if Walker goes down, Charbonnet is going to step in and be that 20 to 25 touch a game guy. And Charbonnet can catch the ball. He's not great. I mean, you know, he's not that, you know, that Marshall Faulk type of guy. But I like Charbonnet. Shakir is a guy that I personally am kind of polling for. Former 5th round pick, small school. I can't remember the name of the school, but he's a guy I really thought Buffalo should give more of an opportunity to, but they like Keon Coleman. They keep trying to replace the dude, but there is a reason why they were okay with getting rid of Gabe. I mean, they didn't even try to sign Gabe Davis and Diggs. So I know I'm giving you both answers here. I like Shakir, don't get me wrong, but Charbonnet in a half PPR league, a running back who can catch the ball, I always will go with that option unless it's like a number one lock. And with Josh Allen, I'm not really sure what he's going to do. I will say this though, because I was going to talk about this, like Josh Allen's like guy you absolutely have to keep, and if you have him on your league, or if you're in a league that's just a 1 week deal, Josh Allen's the guy that you got to get. Shakir may have a great week this week. I'm kind of partial to running backs that can catch the ball in a PPR league. Another thing with Charbonnet, he's a much bigger option. You may get a situation where he only has 5 touches, but one of them's a touchdown. For the rest of the year, take Charbonnet. By the way, if Walker goes down, you have a guy that could be a really solid running back number 2, and you're going to love me for this. So I would keep Cooper and Stevenson. I would too, man. I would too. I would too. I really think Cooper will still be solid. And with the thing is with Zeke, he's not number 1, but I do like the fact that he's a 3 down back. And I think that I also like the fact that he got a touchdown. So but I mean there's got to be other options. Yeah, keep Kupp and use Bowers. That's a good idea too. The problem is Watson. I blame the offensive line. Both tackles are out. The other tackle was out pretty late, so they really didn't have time to really prepare. They'll be a little more prepared this week. I don't know what to think about Jacksonville's defense. Here's the deal. They gave up 339 passing yards to Tua. Tyreek Hill had an 80-yard touchdown, and Jalen Waddle had 61 yards. That's 141. You take that away, you're looking at what? Math's a little off here. Was it 188, 198, under 200? Jacksonville's interesting. The Jacksonville-Cleveland game's kind of interesting because one of those teams is going to be 0-2 and really put themselves in a really bad situation. But I think Cleveland will have a better grasp of what to do with the offensive line. I don't expect them to have the complete shit show like they did against Dallas. I think it's going to be a competitive game. But I think Cooper will have a better game against Jacksonville. Keep in mind something about Jacksonville is I love their front seven. I have some issues with secondary. I know they gave their starting corner a lot of money this offseason, but they have some new pieces, new defensive coordinator, allowed some big plays. Keep in mind Cleveland's always Cleveland. Would I offer Ray Rice and Coleman for Devontae Smith and Zach Moss? Ray Rice. I feel more comfortable with Pickens and Cooper, not going to lie. I don't blame you there. I don't blame you there. And the reason why I say that is that I think Fields, if he becomes a starter and he gets more involved with the offense, I think he'll target Pickens because they don't have a wide receiver number 2. They have Freiermuth. So I get that completely. And I think that's smart too, because you have much more upside with Pickens. You have more upside with Pickens. You really, really do. When Russell Wilson comes back, if Russell Wilson comes back as a starting quarterback, I have no idea what to expect. Because I really think that they should leave Justin Fields in there. I also agree with this. Here's the thing. I really wouldn't get rid of Cooper, but without Nakuda and Pickens would probably be my 1 and 2 out of these. And then I would have Cooper as your third. I get that. Do not give up Stevenson to try to find a replacement. I'm so sorry, Cap for life. I'm drawing a blank. Ray Rice, I'm just drawing a complete blank because the last Ray Rice I'm thinking of is the Ravens running back. I mean, are you thinking the Chief? Are you talking about the Chiefs receiver? And I'm gonna assume. Please clarify. And I know I'm behind on comments, so please clarify if you're talking about the Chiefs receiver. Because if you're talking about the Chiefs receiver, no. But can you clarify that? In my second league, a 12-team PPR wide receiver room is Adams, Neighbors, Rice, Williams, Tank, and Rome with Hall and Archie as running back. I'm looking at an Evans trade. Not sure what the other receiver to target. Okay, so you're looking at the Evans trade. I forgot what options you were. I apologize. I know you put it up there. I'm drawing a blank. But these are the ones available. Okay. Okay. You're talking about the Chiefs receiver Rice. You want that. That's a good option right there. I think Neighbors is going to get a little more involved. But go with Rice. Rice is wide receiver number 1 with Kansas City, and you have a creative offensive mind in Andy Reid. You have the best quarterback in the world. Rice is the guy. I apologize. So here's your question. What is your question at? Which other receiver to target between Adams, Neighbors, Rice, Williams, Tank, and Rome? The answer is Rice. I would go out on a limb and have my number 2 as Neighbors, because I think that what you're going to see in New York is that I really think that what you're going to see in New York is them just force feeding Neighbors. So Neighbors and Rice out of those 2. Absolutely. By the way, Roma Duze suffered an injury. I like Tank. Jameson Williams, great game. I don't think we're going to see it again. Devontae Adams, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets like a late touchdown and some garbage yards against Baltimore. I think that he's a guy that could be on the trade block. So. I'm going to butcher the name. Bronson Hayo. Man, I'm so happy I'm getting some new names in the chat, man. This is just awesome. Trade Debo, Keon, and Terry M for Justin Jefferson, or Debo and Waddle for Justin Jefferson. Man. Okay, your first trade, absolutely not. And the reason why is McLaren is okay. Last week, Jaden Daniels had 15 carries for 88 yards. That's not going to happen again. I promise you, they're just going to teach him not to run as much, and McLaren's going to get some more yards. Keon Coleman, I have no idea, because like there's a lot of hype in Buffalo around him. Debo, I do like to trade for Debo, because like even though he had some really good numbers, they're going to start phasing him out of the offense. I don't trust him to stay healthy. While he is healthy, he has some good numbers. I love Jalen Waddle. I have a huge man. Every time I watch Miami Dolphins, I'm always floored of how well Jalen Waddle plays and how well he does. Always floored. Of course, Tyreek Hill gets all the publicity. Jalen Waddle had over 100 yards, if I remember correctly. I think he had 119. Let me double check here, but let me double check. I had this up earlier. I was looking at this because I do like Jalen Waddle quite a bit, and I was thinking, okay, was it 5 catches, 109 yards, didn't have a touchdown? So 5 catches, 109. That's a good number, man. 5 for 109. Don't get rid of that. Justin Jefferson last week. I should know this. I don't have the numbers memorized. I apologize. 459 and 1. Don't do either one of these, please. Don't do either one of these. Okay. Waddle is probably going to go over 1,000 yards. Okay. And Waddle is not as good as Justin Jefferson. You got 1,000-yard receiver. Deebo Samuel's getting carries. They're getting creative with him. If you have to do one of these moves, do Deebo and Waddle. But I'm telling you right now, you don't want to get rid of Waddle because Waddle's a very solid. He's a very solid number 2. He really is. He really is. You have a lot of teams that are looking to take out Tyreek Hill. Waddle's the number 2 guy, but he had over 100 yards. And I'll be honest with you, I could argue that really was underused. I'm really, really high on Waddle. If you got him, keep him. Terry McLaurin's going to get a lot more touches. Keon Coleman, there's a lot of Buffalo hype. I'm not 100% sold on him. And Deebo, I mean, I have no faith that he's going to stay healthy and he's going to get phased out. You can probably get some good trade value for Deebo, but the players that you got, man, I keep McLaurin. I'm telling you right now, they're going to use him a lot more. They're going to find a way to make it work. I can almost guarantee you that Jaden Daniels not going to have 15 or 16 carries. I can promise you that's not going to happen again. I can promise you that's not going to happen again. He's going to get a lot. You would be giving up. If you got McLaurin and you got Waddle, these are really 2 solid number 2s. I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to get that number 1 guy. I would rather have 2 number 2s that I can count on to go over 1,000. And then, I wouldn't make either one of these. I really wouldn't make it. If you have to make one of these trades, if you absolutely have to, and I don't recommend it, but if you absolutely have to, do the Deebo and Waddle. But I'm telling you right now, I wouldn't do this at all because Waddle's going to go over 1,000 yards. And by the way, Tyreek Hill, you saw the incident, very public. I was watching that right before I went on. They showed the Miami Police Department released the footage, and I haven't talked about it. We talked about it extensively yesterday. About I've been pulled over a lot. And we talked about. I kind of want to dive into it, but anyway, don't make it. I wouldn't recommend either one of these. I wouldn't recommend either one of these. If you're going to, I would do the Deebo and Waddle, even though I love Jalen Waddle. You're giving up 1,000-yard receiver. I'm telling you this right now. But I want to keep McLaurin because he's going to be a lot more productive. There's a lot of hype around Keon Coleman, too. Depending on what type of league that you're in, because I can see Keon Coleman being a guy that gets like 8 to 10 touchdowns, but he may only have like 40 to 50 catches. But I strongly wouldn't recommend this. Really wouldn't recommend it. I'm fully aware Jordan Addison is banged up. I haven't checked his injury status yet, but if Addison's banged up, I know what you're thinking. Like, Justin Jefferson's going to get more. No, that's not the case. He could actually get less. He could actually get less because he may be getting triple teamed. So I wouldn't recommend either one of these. I wouldn't recommend either one of these. By the way, feel free, hit me up on social media. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. A lot of people are telling me I should get on TikTok. I've never visited TikTok. I keep hearing it over and over again. But you can also email me directly, Dan Andrews Jr. I'm sorry, Dan Talks Football at yahoo.com. I'll answer all my emails. So, yeah. I was not happy about that. It's a copyright infringement. It's stupid. Yeah, so I have it on my YouTube channel. You can watch it. the same video except with national anthem. I thought it was really cool. I'm not even going to try to name. Hey, man, what's up? What are your thoughts on trading away Flowers and Diggs for Davante Adams? So here's the deal. I do think Davante Adams is going to move the trade deadline. I'm assuming when you say Flowers, I am so sorry. I'm drawing a complete blank. I'm just drawing a complete blank. I'm drawing a complete blank. I don't have any faith in Diggs. I know he had some plays, but I don't really have a lot of faith in it. I'm drawing a blank on Flowers, man. I'm sorry, man. Give me an idea. If I can remember who Flowers is, I'm gonna star this. I'm gonna have to come back to this. I'm a little behind on questions, but I'm drawing a blank. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on Flowers. I'm really embarrassed about that. I don't have any faith in Diggs being the guy. Keep in mind, I do think Davante Adams could switch teams. If he goes to a team mid-season that can use him right, you may be getting a steal. Carl looks healthy. I think it was kind of a fluke. I think it was kind of a fluke week one thing, but I am going to pay attention. They play Dallas. I want to see how they do against Dallas. No further news on Josh Jacobs. The way I understand it, I think he is going to play, but I don't have any news on it. Great question, RGQ. Start to London, Dell, Evans. Start Evans, definitely. Here, okay, Evans is the guy. Half PPR. Wide receiver room is mostly average, is big, but mostly average players. What kind of caliber receiver can I get? But trading Pittman and another player from this list, Reed, Hollywood, Coleman, G4. Okay. So you want to get rid of Pittman. I get that. They didn't really use him right. Donde Mitchell, they were gushing about big time during training camp. I think they're going to use him right. No faith in Anthony Richardson being able to use Pittman consistently. So I get that. What kind of value you're going to get from Pittman? I don't know. Is there anybody in your league that really likes Pittman? Because you're probably not going to get a lot. But out of these, I always say the same thing. You're in a half PPR league, all right? And this is what you're saying. They're using Najee Harris a little more in the passing game. The thing with Ford is once Nick Chubb comes back, he's going to go on the bench. But I always believe that if you're in any kind of a PPR league and you got a running back that can make some catches. Now, keep in mind, I think they're going to use Najee Harris a little more in the game. Hollywood Brown, I'm keeping an eye out as a Chiefs fan. I think he's going to play. I don't know. Obviously, don't want to trade for a guy that's going to be out for a couple of weeks. So keep an eye on Hollywood Brown. Because if he's healthy, if you can drop Pittman and you can get Hollywood Brown and Hollywood Brown plays, keep in mind, even if he does play against the Bengals, may not have a big game week 2. I would look at week 3 further on. You're going to get a guy I think is going to be a 1,000-yard receiver. But I always say the same thing. In a PPR league, you get a running back that makes catches. Especially if Justin Fields ends up being the starter, I think they'll use Najee Harris more and more and more. So definitely Najee. Out of this, I love Dell so much. I really do, but I would go with London. And the reason why I say that is I get Dell may have more catches. I think London might be due for a touchdown. That's a tough one. Evans is the no-brainer. I don't know what kind of running backs you have, but Najee Harris in any kind of PPR league, I really would like. Well, if you switch Jones instead of Ramondre, well, I'm sorry. I know you made the comment earlier, and I'm trying to find it here. Switch Jones. Okay. Amari Cooper and Jones for Zeke and Debo. I still don't like that. And the reason why is I have no faith in Debo staying healthy, plus they're phasing him out of the offense. I know. Listen, I get it. I would go with Pickens over Cooper as well. But the thing is with Cooper is you're going to have some consistency. I mean, you really are. But Aaron Jones, I don't hate the Aaron Jones for Zeke. I really don't hate the Aaron Jones for Zeke, and the reason why I say that is Aaron Jones, when he's playing and when he's healthy, he's going to do well. He missed a lot of time with Green Bay last year, and he's a really good locker room guy. But I mean, when you're running back and you have problems staying healthy, I don't know what you do. So in that situation, keep in mind, you have a shelf life on Debo. Next week, I think they'll be used a lot more. But as they integrate Brandon Ayuk, they're making Ayuk. They're making him wide receiver number 1. They're making Debo number 2. I know that they're using Debo as running back, but when Christian McCaffrey comes back, that's not going to happen. So you have a limited shelf life. You have a very limited shelf life on that. So, you do have Jonathan Brooks. Yeah, now here's the drill. For those of you that don't know, Jonathan Brooks probably would have gone in the first round, either late October, early November, tore his ACL when he was a redshirt sophomore at Texas. He was so talented. They decided to come out draft, first running back chosen. I think it was the 46th overall pick by Carolina. Here's the problem is that you have a bad offense in Carolina right now. Everything's just terrible. I don't know when Brooks comes back. If you have some more information than I do, the way I understand he's not coming back until like week 5. But when he does come back, you don't know what you're going to get. I mean, they gave a lot of money to Miles Sanders. He didn't produce. I expect Carolina to play a lot better going forward. I think that was just kind of like a weird fluke thing. The one thing about Jonathan Brooks is that he's a 3 down back, but I think Miles Sanders may take away a lot of his touches. But Jonathan Brooks is one of those dudes that, let's just say he comes back week 5, okay? If he comes back week 5 and he's at 100%, by week 7 or 8, you may have a legit number 1 running back in Jonathan Brooks. You're rolling the dice there. So I understand what you're trying to do. You want to keep Ramondre Stevenson in this case. I get moving Aaron Jones. I get that a lot because you can't count on him to stay healthy. He's productive. He's a 3rd down back. Here's another thing. Minnesota has a good offensive line, and you have Justin Jefferson, so he's going to get plays. But I get the logic behind that, and I also understand that with losing Nakuda, you got to get another receiver. But I understand you got an A+ grade. With Jonathan Brooks, it's just you got some time. So now, what do we do with D Hop? I'm not. To be honest with you, the whole. I think Tennessee's just going to be a shit show. I really do. D Hop would be kind of a flex, not even a number, maybe a number 2 flex. I'm not sure. Not really sure, to be honest with you. but not really. I have no faith in the Tennessee Titans whatsoever. You keep in mind the Bears have a really good defense. Okay, the Bears have a really good defense. He'll have more production. Could be a trade deadline thing. Flex number 2. He's a week 2. Really is. At this moment, my starting lineup: Josh Allen. That's pretty. Is I'm assuming it's Josh Allen. Okay, but John Robinson, solid. Aaron Jones, okay. You have Ramondre Stevenson. Okay, so Stevenson is your flex, I'm assuming. Okay, let me see if I got this right. Josh Allen, but John Robinson, Aaron Jones, Pickens, Coop, Laporta, and you have Stevenson. That's pretty solid, man. That's pretty solid. Okay, you know what? I got Keaton Talks Sports. He's going to come on 10 minutes. I want to bring this up here really fast because I did a little research here. The last 4 games Josh Allen had at Miami, let's go back to last year. They won 21-14, right? Listen to this. 359 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 15 carries, 67 yards on the ground. That was just scoring 21 points, okay? Go back to 2022, a 19-21 loss. Josh Allen, 400 yards, 2 touchdowns, 8 carries, 47 yards. You're going to win a lot of fantasy games when your quarterback goes for 402 and has an additional 47 on the ground. Now, 3 years ago, they won 35-0. Josh Allen, 179 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 35 yards on the ground. Keep in mind that's a blowout win. So, but still 179 and 2 touchdowns and 1 interception. Not that big of a deal, but here's the deal though. That was in 2021 before Mike McDaniel came there. So, I can see Buffalo keeping the foot on the gas. Go back to 2020 in a 31-28 win. Josh Allen, 415. 4 touchdowns, 19 yards rushing. These are the last 4 games against Miami. 2 of them are 400-yard games. 1 of them's over 350. 67 yards rushing, 47, 35, of course, 19. But who cares when your quarterback – you don't care about 19 yards rushing when your quarterback goes for 415 and 4. Bottom line, give me anybody in the NFL, and by the way, listen. Feel free if Josh Allen, doesn't do well, for him to yell at me. Do not, feel free to yell at me if Josh Allen doesn't light it up. But the last 4 times Josh Allen has played in Miami, 2 400-yard games, over 350, 67, 47, 35, and 19 yards rushing. And by the way, the last 2 years, 47 and 67. Josh Allen may win you this week by himself. The only game he didn't do well is a 35-0 blowout. And even though I do think Buffalo will win this game, I don't think it's going to be a blowout. So Josh Allen may win this game by himself. So, but John Robinson against the Eagles, I'm a little curious. I'm not super high on it. Aaron Jones against the 49ers defense. Pickens, you honestly, you're going. Here's the deal: Denver's defense did not look good week 1. Really didn't look good week 1. I could also see a situation where Denver just, they lock up. They just gave them like a boatload of money. Coop and Laporta, I think we'll have a good game. I think Stevenson's solid. I like your lineup. I know you're trying to upgrade in that receiver position, but oh God, I feel so bad. This gave him Denver Gators going to be so mad. I'm going to forget his name. So mad. I'm drawing a complete blank. I watched his dad play in Kansas City. Went to Alabama. I could see him being locked up one-on-one. I can't remember his name. I did see it, but I don't know how serious it is. My initial reaction is that I don't think it's something. I don't think it's going to keep him out big time. So, do I pick up Emmanuel Wilson or L.S. Lloyd? Drawing a blank on L.S. Lloyd. I feel like that's somebody I should know, but I cap for life, man. I am so sorry. I feel like I should know who L.S. Lloyd is. I'm just drawing a blank. I'm not really high on Emmanuel Wilson. I'll be honest with you. I'm drawing a blank on L.S. Lloyd, man. I'm really sorry about that. I'm just drawing a complete blank. Oh, Rashid Rice. Yeah. By the way, listen, cap for life. After the show's over, you can email me, hit me up on social media if you got anything, but I get it. Wilson did hook up with Sutton 10 times last season. Yeah, I know. I mean, and by the way, I love Sutton. Sisu Mahomes. I'm gonna be very clear. Daniels is he's my candidate for rookie of the year, and I think Mahomes Cincinnati's had Mahomes' number, but I will take Mahomes over Jaden Daniels. And listen, he's on the road. I know New York's been playing really bad. The defense didn't play bad. It really didn't. So I would go with Mahomes. My league mate accepted a trade where I wanted to trade, and another league mate convinced him to decline it. So as the league manager, should I let him decline or let it go through? Ooh. Man, Austin Hanley, what a great question here. So first of all, you're the league manager. All right. You're the league manager. So it's your decision. When you're the manager, you're the one who makes the final call. Where you won the trade, well, that makes it a little differently. Okay. And another league mate convinced him to decline it. Okay, so here's the drill. You made a trade that you feel like you won. Okay? Easy enough. All right. He accepted the trade. That it already go and I'm assuming he hasn't already gone through. So what happened is he accepted it, and then another league mate that convinced him to decline it. Okay. It's a touchy situation. So here's what I'm assuming. I'm assuming that you proposed a trade, he accepted, but before you actually put it all the way through, one of his buddies said, "Hey, take it away," and then he declined it before the trade's already gone through. Okay. As the league manager, you have the option to do either or. I would, in good faith, because by the way, just for future reference, you're the league manager. As soon as the trade goes through, that's in your favor. You hit that accept button, all the way, make it happen. Right. Just for future reference, as soon as that trade goes through, it's in your favor. Make it happen. Make it official. And once it's official, you can't go back on it. But I'm assuming from the way you worded this that you didn't do that. And then if that's a situation and it hasn't been, authorized and already put through, then, let them back out on it. That's what I would do. However, if the trade's already been made and it's been, it's gone up on the message board or what have you, and then he messaged you back and go, well, I was thinking about it. My buddy told me it was a bad move. No, the trade's already official. It's over and done with. But I'm assuming it hasn't been over and done with. So if it hasn't been over and done with as the league manager, I would say, you know what? Hey, I didn't put the trade through. So yeah, you can go back on it. But if the trade's already gone through, don't let them. There's no backsies. There's no. Listen, everybody has buyer's remorse or whatever, but no. But the way I'm reading this is that it hasn't gone through yet. So, thoughts on Ford? Should I get rid of him before Chubb comes back? Not before, but once Chubb comes back, absolutely. Once Chubb comes back, absolutely. You know, I was reading this. Wilson did hook up with Sutton. Talking about Zach Wilson? If you give absolutely. Yeah. No, hey, by the way, anything I can do to help. What do you think about my trade offer, Mahomes for Barkley? Ooh. So you have Mahomes, okay? Now I'm assuming since you said Mahomes for Jaden Daniels option number 2. In that situation, you want to keep Mahomes because you have a rookie quarterback who is running 15 times a game. That's never a good thing. I would say this, like, if it's a PPR league, you can't put in high enough value on a 3-down back. If it's a PPR league, and Barkley, I think is just going to have a monster year. I do say that. But if your option is either Mahomes or Jaden Daniels, that's a no-brainer. You want to keep Mahomes. If you have a solid backup quarterback and your running back situation is bad, this is not a bad trade. If you're in a PPR league, the one thing I have to warn you about Saquon Barkley, he is not guaranteed to stay healthy. Or, Mahomes, I think for the most part, is going to play 17. So listen, we are at the top of hour number 2. I'm going to go to a quick commercial break. When I come back, we have Keaton from Keaton Talks Sports. I'm going to do my best to answer all the fantasy football questions, but we're going to have Keaton from Keaton Talks Sports. He's going to talk some college football, and you can pepper Keaton with some fantasy questions of your own. Take a quick commercial break, and at the top of hour number 3, we're going to have Keaton from Keaton Talks Sports join us. Hi, I'm Daniel Andrews, host of Dan Talks Football, and my award-winning NFL Weekly Picks video has been released. Now, don't watch it now. This is just a commercial break. I have to pee or something, but make sure you watch it at least twice. If you watch it 5 times, you win $1 million. Wait, I'm not allowed to say that? Oh, I can say it. I just can't mean it. Well, okay. Look, make sure you watch it. It's a great video, and I do mean that. Keaton from Keaton Talks Sports will be joining us to talk college football. Keaton also does a weekly sports video. Make sure you check out his channel. Every person who comments that Keaton has better looking hair than I do, Keaton will pay each of you $100. Wait, what? Why can't I say it? Okay, fine. You know what? Well, what am I allowed to say? Okay. All right. So look, Keaton is going to join the show. That part is true. He might not give you $100 if you say he has better looking hair, and everybody knows that's just not true anyway. I, of course, look way better and have way better hair, but stay tuned. Keaton is joining us for this final hour of Afternoon Delight. All right, hour 3 here, and I got Keaton from Keaton Talks Sports. Keaton, welcome, brother.
How you doing, Dan? Thanks for having me on.
Oh, man. Hey, Keaton, thanks for joining us, man. I got behind on some fantasy football comments, so we're going to talk college football. I might have to save some of these for tomorrow, but if you're available, you can get some of your fantasy football predictions. I got behind. I was not expecting all these great questions for fantasy football. I got some really good ones here. But Keaton, first off, I didn't know this until recently, but you just released your weekly picks video. I just want to say, make sure you check it out. It's a great video.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
But listen, before we just dive in, there's a bunch of new people in the chat, a bunch of great comments about fantasy football. Some of them might not know who you are. Can you kind of explain yourself a little bit and explain what you're all about?
Yeah, so my name's Keaton McNair. Obviously, some of you guys are new to chats. I've been doing this YouTube channel for about a year. I started last year. Started at the bomb. Now I'm at like 540 subs already. So I'm just excited for get these videos out each and every week to you guys. And I'm just excited football's back. The wait is finally over. And give you a little bit of my background. I'm a sports management major from Ohio Dominican University. Graduated last spring of 2023. So give you a little bit of my background there. Distance runner, obviously. I run half marathons, all that stuff. So just a little something outside of the sports world, but I love doing YouTube, love putting out videos and stuff every week. So I'm excited to meet some of you guys and get to know you guys a little bit.
Keaton's been a guest on my show many times. He's been a phenomenal guest. All right, Keaton, first question here. Let's say me and you line up to run 100 meters, right? 100-meter race, me against you. How many times do I lap you?
That's a great question because I don't do a lot of sprinting. I do a lot of sprinting. So you probably will get me there on the sprinting part because I do not sprint at all. So you to answer the question, probably you. You probably would lap me on that. I
ran high hurdles in high school. There's a 0% chance that I'm winning that race, but like 20 years ago, I have a chance. I brought you on. I was not anticipating this many fantasy football questions, which is just fantastic. But I want to talk a little bit of college football with you because for those of you who don't know, Keaton's right there in Buckeyes country. So I mean, if you unless you've been living under a rock, Ohio State is just dominant. But let me ask you this here: I saw something recently. Austin Gentry, Boise State running back. If you're not familiar, 45 so far, 45 carries, 459 yards, 9 touchdowns. Boise State's 1-1. They just lost to 9th-ranked Oregon. Is he your Heisman favorite right now?
I mean, he is having me. It's crazy what he's doing over the past like 2 games already, or was it 2? It's been 2 games already, I believe.
Yeah, 2 games, 459 yards, 2 touchdowns, averaging over 10 yards a carry. It's just ridiculous.
Man, that's ridiculous. I mean, it just shows you the type of player that he is. Very special at his position. But to answer your question, I mean, from what I have right here on my notes, I don't technically have him as my Heisman favorite right now. He is up there, but I have the Texas quarterback as my Heisman favorite as of now, just because, I mean, just looking what he did at Michigan, going in there and just dominating the whole game, just beating down that Michigan. I know Michigan's not the same, obviously, talent-wise as last year, but, like, still going in that house and just picking his spots on the field and just having the day and basically just doing whatever he wants on the offensive side was just something, something special to watch. And as an Ohio State fan, it was just great to see Michigan get beat down in their house like that. So, yeah.
It's funny. It's funny. An Ohio State fan, happy that Michigan lost. I'm shocked.
Hey, man. It's part of the rival.
When's the last time you guys beat Michigan? So, I mean, no, okay. No,
3 years ago?
That's fair. That's fair. You better beat them this year.
There's no excuses. No. That's for sure.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Listen, let's stick on Ohio State for a little bit. You guys got this. I watched him play at spring ball, and he just jumped off the chart. Jeremiah Smith, if you're not aware, true freshman wide receiver. Can you talk about 3 touchdowns already?
I know. I mean, this dude is just a freak athlete. I mean, it's crazy. He's only 18 years of age. I mean, 6'3", just a little over 220. It's just, dude has just a freak athlete. I mean, his separation is just unbelievable so far, what he's done through 2 games. I mean, just just makes it easy, and he just frustrates a lot of defensive backs, and he's able to not only just catch the ball on a consistent rate, but he's able to gain a lot of yards after the catch. That's something he's really great at, and I think he's definitely going to obviously be a key piece to Ohio State's championship run this year, hopefully, when we get that far. But just him as a player is just, he makes it a lot easier for the quarterback and a lot of guys on the field. So he's a definitely special player, and he's definitely, if he continues to progress as a player, he can definitely get to the NFL level and really make an impact to whatever team picks him up.
Oh God! In 2 years from now, he's a lock as a top pick. I'm gonna level with you. I mean, it's hard to do, but if you took Marvin Harrison Jr., you took the name away. As true freshman, I almost think Jeremiah Smith looks better. Am I crazy? Is he that good, or have I just lost my mind?
No, you're not crazy. Him and Marvin Harrison have a lot of similarities, but I think Jeremiah Smith can just do just a bit better what he does at his position. He's just an exciting athlete. I'm just really happy he's here at Ohio State, and I think he's going to be a problem going forward.
I just want to rewind what you said. You think that Jeremiah Smith might even be better than Marvin Harrison Jr.?
From what I'm just saying, he's only 18 years of he's 18 years of age doing what he's doing. Like, I think he's only going to get better. Like, I really think he's only going to get better from here. And like, he has similar. Him and Marvin Harrison Jr. have very similar games, but like, I'm not saying he's better than Marvin Harrison, but like, his game is definitely similar to what Marvin Harrison was when he was at Ohio State, if not a little better.
I'm glad you said that, and the reason why is because I watched both of them, and I honestly think that if his name wasn't Marvin Harrison Jr., I think Jeremiah Smith as true freshman is actually like this much better. Mm-hmm. I think he's that good, and I encourage people, if you haven't had a chance to watch this kid yet, I mean, this is a guy. He's a true freshman who looks like a man among boys. I don't remember the last true freshman that came in as a wide receiver looked this dominant. And if it sounds like I'm overhyping this kid, I'm really not. This is a guy who is almost a lock to be a top 10 pick unless he punches a baby on TikTok or something. I mean this guy is really, 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 really good.
Insane.
Yeah, I since I do want to get, by the way, I got a lot of fantasy football questions, and I apologize to everybody. I brought Keaton on because I want to talk some college football. I do want to get a bunch of fantasy questions here. I'm going to try my best to answer them all before the show ends. I might have to answer some of these tomorrow, but I do want to talk to Keaton about college football. That's why I brought him on. So you understand my dilemma here, hopefully. Friday night is a low key. I'm kind of excited. Friday night's a low key game against two undefeated ranked teams. You have Arizona at K-State. Now I spend a lot of my time in Kansas City, so I have some love for K-State. Is there a chance that the winner of Arizona K-State can be a national championship contender? Keep in mind, it's not 4, it's 12 this year. K-State's already ranked 13th. Is there a chance that the winner of this game, we could be looking at a possible contender in that championship game? It's Friday night, folks.
Yeah, this Kansas, like you said, Kansas State is ranked number 13. I think, my opinion, just looking at where they are, I think this is a huge game for them because, like I said, it depends. Now, if you're asking me, like, if Kansas State were somehow lose the game, it all depends on like how close the game is. Like, I think if whoever loses this game, I wouldn't necessarily say they're out of the championship conversation, but I would say just looking at what's on the line for Kansas State, I know it's only the first or 2 games in the season, but I think this is an important game for them. It's at Kansas State, right, or is it at Arizona?
It's at K-State. They play in Manhattan. Yeah. I mean, I think if K-State loses, there's no chance. Even if they run the table, I don't think there's a chance they get in. I mean, keep in mind the winner of the Big 12 will get an automatic bid. So
Yeah.
but if they end up losing 2 games, including a Big 12 championship,
There's no way.
no. But I think that Arizona. I haven't looked at the rest of their schedule. I think Arizona could lose this game. They have to be impressive. Like they have to have a lot of weirdness go on, but I mean, there's a possibility. But for the most part, I think that if you lose, the loser of this game, I think's out. And that's why I love college football, is that you have an early season game that if you lose, hey, you have to play in the Sun Bowl instead of a national championship. So that's what I love about it.
Yeah, I think them being at home too gives them the advantage too, because that crowd, they can definitely get into it if they're on their game for sure. So I think them being at home will definitely give them an advantage there.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I do expect K-State to win this game. Of course, I'm a little biased. I watch a lot of K-State, so I mean, I'm a little biased. I do like the fact that Arizona, because I watched them over the last couple of years, just have this garbage team. I think college football is a little better when Arizona has a good team. Just personal preference, but I think the winner is short answer: winners and losers out.
I can understand that.
I have some games that I mentioned to you at possible upsets, and I'm just going to rapid fire these. Because I'm actually excited about watching this one, even though I'm not expecting an upset. But I want to get your opinion. Alabama at Wisconsin. I'm kind of excited to watch this game, but Keaton, let me just throw this out there. Can Wisconsin win this game? I mean, they're at home.
I mean, there's definitely a chance they can win. I mean, like I said, Nick Saban's not there no more, so we don't know what type of Alabama team that's going to come out, what type of schemes they're going to plan for Wisconsin. I mean, like I said, even like when Ohio State has gone up there, Wisconsin, like, we may have won the game, but like we've had to work for every possession against them. Like, it's tough playing up there at Wisconsin, especially at night. I don't know if this game a new? I can't tell if this game's a.
It's an early game.
Dang, that game was at night. That would be crazy.
No. If it was at night, it's completely different. Camp Randall's kind of an underrated place. It's kind of a fun place. It's kind of weird. So I'm here in Vegas, so it starts at like 6 a.m. or some bullshit. It's not 6. They have all. So like the NFL starts at 10 a.m. on Sunday out here. It's weird. It's really weird. But yeah, this game is like I think this game starts at like 9 or 9:30.
9 o'clock.
Really
yeah, 9 o'clock. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's crazy.
It's weird, but if it was a nighttime game, for those of you that don't know, like Camp Randall Stadium there in Wisconsin, like they take it serious. It's an underrated venue. I kind of bring this up because you're a Buckeyes fan. You're familiar. Wisconsin's had some big upsets, but I mean, is there a chance that we see an upset? I mean, well, how serious? I think Bama's. Last time I looked, I want to say it was like 13, 14 point favorite, something like that.
I think Wisconsin. I think they cover. I think Wisconsin covers. I'm not gonna say Wisconsin wins the game, but they definitely cover that spread for sure. I think they're gonna give Alabama some fits, them being at home, and that they have a really good defense as well. It's not like their defense is bad. They have a solid defense. The
defense solid. Wisconsin has a solid defense, and I can't wait to watch this game. I would not recommend putting action on it, but I think Bama wins. But I don't see an upset there, but I kind of wanted to get your thoughts. Here's another game I think is a potential huge upset. LSU at South Carolina. South Carolina's 2-0. LSU lost to USC. A game I watched. It was a great game. I'm going to throw out something a little crazy. Like LSU clearly had the better team, but lost, and that happens sometimes. Hopefully you get where I'm coming from.
Mm-hmm.
But South Carolina's kind of building something a little bit there. Is there a chance that by the way, South Carolina calls himself USC, but when you say USC, you're not thinking South Carolina, but I mean, the Gamecocks. I mean, Is there a chance there?
There's definitely a chance. What time? Was that game an early game as well?
That's an early game. I think the only late game that I brought up as far as the upsets, and it's after all these games are early. I think Oregon State is a
that game. Okay, yeah, I would say, yeah. I honestly, all these games that you sent me, all these games can be upsets. I'm not gonna sit here and say, well, the team wins upright. Like, I definitely think at South Carolina, like I said, knowing that crowd as well, they can get ramped up, and they can definitely go in there and upset, and pull the upset as well. So I mean, that's another game I'm gonna definitely be watching for sure. And the Oregon State game, that's another game I wanted to get into. I think that's more of my upset, I would say, because that's a rival game. Obviously, I've seen Oregon State beat them in the past, so it's like it can definitely happen again. It's at Oregon State, I believe, right?
Yeah, not only is it at Oregon State, it'll be played at 3:30. So it's an afternoon game. I'm going to make sure I got all the times correct.
I didn't look up the times, but yeah, that's going to be a good game right there for sure. I'm definitely be watching that.
Yeah, so I just real fast here. K-State, I got the lines pulled up. K-State's a 7-point favorite. I wouldn't touch that game. I was a little surprised. Wisconsin's a 16.5-point underdog. So Keaton's saying bet your life savings on Wisconsin to cover.
They'll cover that spread.
South Carolina's a 7-point home dog. I'm gonna love with it. I think LSU after losing USC, I think that they're going to go on a tear. I really believe that. I think that they cover.
I could see that too.
But I'm really surprised. I might put some action on this. Oregon State is a 16-point home dog.
And that's the funny thing is, like, Oregon, like, I think it was like the first, second, they didn't really look all that good. The first, I think it was their first.
They barely beat Boise State. Alvin Gentry tore them up. And a lot of people think he's a Heisman favorite. I just, it's like this. I don't see a guy from Boise State winning the Heisman.
I was just thinking about that too, coming on the show. I was like, Boise State, I was like, I don't know. Unless they've beaten Oregon, that would be different. But I don't really see him getting I wouldn't say recognition, but I guess the respect, because he plays at Boise State. Like, the committee's all about big time schools, big name schools, all that stuff. So I think we'll just have to see.
Yeah, I mean, there's some really good rival games. West Virginia and Pittsburgh, that used to be a big rivalry game. Washington State, of course, the Pac-12's gone.
Can't believe that's crazy.
Yeah, I'm still surprised. This is actually, I didn't send this one to you. This is going to be a fun game. I know I'm bringing this up from my boy Denver Gator. Texas A&M travels to the Swamp. Florida's a 3-point home dog, and I hate to tell you this, Denver Gator. Texas A&M's going to win and cover. But let me throw another game that I really want to get your opinion on this one, because there's a lot of moving parts that could happen as far as coaching changes in the NFL and in the college football landscape. A ranked Boston College team, I'm going to say that again, a ranked Boston College team is going to invade Columbia, Missouri to play the MU Tigers. Missouri is a 16-point dog. Multiple questions here for you. Number one, is Boston College for real? Number two, can they beat Missouri? And number three is Bill O'Brien, does he have a future as, let's be honest, he's not staying at Boston College after getting this team, after getting Boston College ranked, he's not staying there.
Yeah.
He's going to the NFL. Florida, I've mentioned this many times, but the Florida head coaching job may be available next year. So the 3-part question, can they beat Missouri? Let me do this. Is Boston College for real? Can they beat Missouri, and Bill O'Brien's future, college or NFL?
I think, looking at, my opinion, at Missouri, I think that's going to be, I wouldn't necessarily say they can't go down there and beat them, but I think that game being at Missouri, I think that's going to be a tough order for them to go out there and beat them. And I think they do have a chance. I'm not saying they're going to get blown out, but I think Missouri, them being at home, and like I said, they have experience, I think that's going to give them the advantage. I think Missouri goes in there, well, them being at home, I think they take care of business. But I think Boston College, I think they deserve to be where they are. I mean, they've showed a lot of fight through 2 games already. And then to answer your other question, do I think Bill O'Brien stays or leaves? I mean, like I said, I don't really think he stays there long term at BC. I think he goes back to the NFL where he has obviously the experience, coaching there. So I think he goes back there. And what was your last question? That was 2 questions I answered.
Let's see. Boston College is for real. Bill O'Brien going back. The game itself, Missouri's a 16-point favorite. I'll be honest, I haven't had a chance to watch Missouri. Is Missouri going to win and cover this game?
I don't know. See, that's the thing. It's like these big spreads. Like I don't know. Those are tricky games because I don't know. Like
I'll be honest, I didn't know the spreads, and I just pulled it up just now. I'll be honest with you, the other spreads I understood. Oregon State, normally rival games, I think would be. I'll be honest, I was really expecting that to be a single-digit spread. I might put some action on Oregon State to cover. I thought that this would be about 9.5. I didn't expect this to be 16.
Yeah,
I'll be honest with you. I think Boston College easily covers. I don't think they can compete with an SEC. Missouri doesn't belong in SEC. I still hate that, but
yeah, they used to be the Big 12.
Yeah, they were in the Big 12. I wish they were. I wish they were back in the Big 12. It's goofy, but I don't see them really competing. Keaton, I hate to do this, but I got a ton of fantasy questions. Would you be up to giving some fantasy football advice?
Sure, yeah.
Absolutely. All right. So I'm going to go with MK here, and I got your comment. I went back up here. Let me ask you this here, because I looked at your wide receiver room, and what you're trying to do is you're trying to trade some of these guys, and you're trying to get a receiver. What kind of trade are you trying to get? I mean, what kind of trade? I know you want a bundle, but who's going to offer you what? I like your receivers, by the way, but what kind of a trade could you get? I'm going to try to answer all the questions. I got a buttload of them, but if you want to, you can email me directly and see what kind of trade offer you can get. Cole Bowman is in a full PPR league. Travis Etienne, Christian Watson for Justin. It says JT. I thought it was Justin Jefferson at first, but JT. I'm drawing it's funny because somebody said Zay Flowers, and yeah, you're right. I should have known who Flowers is. I just drew a blank. Materius Lloyd, I'm really bad with names. I'm really sorry, but yeah, Flowers, it just threw me off here. JT. At first I thought you're saying Justin Jefferson, but I'm drawing a blank on JT. Am I on crack here? I feel like I should know this. I should have known who Zay Flowers is. You're right for insulting me there, but JT. Let me know. By the way, so one of the things, a lot of times people comment on their phones. A lot of times people fat finger, but when you said JT, the first thing that popped in my mind was Justin Jefferson. So if that's who you mean, let me know. I'm drawing a blank on who JT are. Your other receivers are Jamar Chase and Ladd McConkey. This is a comment I had earlier. I'm throwing you into something messy here, and I apologize. I had a lot more people comment than I was expecting, because I never did a fantasy show. Yeah. So these are the other ones. So this is the trade that he was thinking about doing, either Debo, Keon, or Terry McLaurin for Justin Jefferson, or Devon and Jalen Waddle for Justin Jefferson. And I asked him, I said, who are your other receivers? I love Jalen Waddle. I have a huge man crush on him. I would not do that trade, but I asked him, who are your other receivers, when he brought that trade up. And his other receivers are Chase and Ladd McConkey.
Mm-hmm.
Jamar Chase, I think you have to keep.
Yeah, you absolutely have to keep. Yeah.
And then Ladd McConkey, I know he had a touchdown. I'm not as high on him as
you could probably move him on. Is that what he's looking to move? Ladd McConkey, that's one of the guys he could move.
Well, he didn't put that as the trade, and he wants to keep McConkey. But I'm going to tell you this right now: Terry McLaurin is going to have better numbers. Okay, Jaden Daniel had 15 or 16 carries. That will never happen again. I promise you, that's not going to happen again. He had 16. I think it was 16 carries for 88 yards his first NFL game. He's going to realize this isn't the SEC really fast. So McLaurin will get more options, and then Jalen Waddle. I strongly urge you to keep Jalen Waddle. That's a 1,000-yard receiver. McConkey's not going for 1,000.
Yeah, keep him for sure.
By the way, I just drew a blank on who Flowers is, but one thing when I mess up, I admit I mess up, and I drew a blank because he said Flowers and somebody else, and I just drew a blank on Flowers. So I deserve to be made fun of for that. I dropped the ball. I have a YouTube channel where I talk football, my first fantasy show, but I always say this: call your girl baby. Always call her baby. Don't call your girl by the wrong name. That's great advice. That's hard for Keaton. He's got like 7 of them. Keaton a pimp, man. Caesar, another important question for you, my flex pick. Should I use Diggs, Metcalf, Gollin, or Pollard? Okay, I know my answer. Keaton from Keaton Talks Sports, flex pick. Stephon Diggs, DK Metcalf, Chris Godwin, or Pollard?
Ooh, that's a good question. Diggs, Metcalf, Godwin, or Pollard.
This is what I love. I bring Keaton Talk Sports, honestly, and this is a tough one. I give him some tough questions.
I give him, if I were you, I would probably go with, I think between Diggs and Metcalf. I would just go Diggs, honestly, just because he's on a loaded team with other wide receivers to work with as well. So I would definitely go Diggs.
I believe this is a PPR league. I also believe this is a PPR league. I thought you said it was a PPR league. If this was a PPR league, and
you can make it work with Metcalf as well. I mean, he's a great athlete as well. So, yeah,
I'm gonna level with you because I think this is a PPR league. I would go with Pollard, and the reason why is I think he's going to be much more involved in the passing game going forward. He did have a touchdown last week. The Jets defense looked terrible. I think Pollard's due for a good game. Pollard against I think the Jets will bounce back, and I'm pretty sure he agrees with me there.
Yeah.
But I do think Pollard. This is my personal opinion. In a PPR league, if you have a 3-down back, you want to use them. And so I would go with Pollard, but you have 3 other good options at receiver. I mean, you got 3 really good options. I'll be honest with you. You can go either one. Godwin's the number 1 receiver. Metcalf, you're going to split some touches. One thing about me and Keaton, and this has nothing to do with Keaton being a Patriots fan, but both of us have the Patriots beating the Seahawks. So, but Keaton says Diggs. I say I like Pollard. So, play Diggs. He will get the numbers. It's going to be a fun game, but I warn people about the Bears. That defense is for real. I mean, that defense is for real.
Yeah, they shut down. I mean, they shut out the Titans in the second half. 24-0.
Andre has a great question here. Would you rather have Jamar Chase and Kenneth Walker or Justin Jefferson and Josh Jacobs?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Oh, that is a good one, Keaton. I'm going to give you the opportunity because this is a real good one. This is a really good one.
Jamar Chase and Kenneth Walker or Justin Jefferson and Josh Jacobs. Dang, that's a really good question.
I know. Listen. I was not expecting this many comments on fantasy football because it was my very first show. I was planning on just doing half and half. I was going to talk a lot more college football. I just got nailed with a bunch of really great questions. So I'm sorry to throw you into this because like these are great questions. These are tough ones. These are tough ones. So I'm putting Keaton through the ringer here. He's nice enough to come on my show and I torture him with this.
No, these are great. These are really good questions. I guess if I would have to guess between your question, I would have to go with Jefferson and Jacobs, just because. I mean, we all know how special Justin Jefferson is at the wide receiver spot, but Josh Jacobs has experience, and he's a really productive running back, and he's able to gain at least 4 or 5 yards per carry. So, like, I'll definitely go with. But I mean, you can make an argument with Chase too. And he obviously is a special wide receiver. Kenneth Walker is also a beast at the running back position, but I would go with Jefferson and Jacobs just because I think the experience factor and just how special those players are.
All right. Earlier I got asked about Josh Jacobs' injury issue. I think he's banged up. I think he's going to play, but I'll keep an eye out on that. The one issue with Kenneth Walker is that he had issues staying healthy. Here's the deal. If I get both these, let's just say all players are healthy, I would go with Jamar Chase and Kenneth Walker by this much. Just barely, but I don't think you're wrong either way. The reason why I would go with the health, by the way, you got it. By the way, I'm also, you're assuming Jamar Chase is going to sign or play because he had that in again, off again. Maybe he plays against the Chiefs, but he doesn't get his contract and he wants to sit out for the rest of the year. You don't know what he's going to do.
I don't know if you heard, but I think the Bengals. Well, I guess before the Patriots game, they offered him I think it was like a 4-year, 140, and he like declined it or something.
Yeah.
So I guess he wants $100 million. Something. I don't know if he wants.
He wants more money than Justin Jefferson. And look, I'm telling you this right now. Here's the issue with Andre is that if you tell me Jamar Chase is going to play the rest of the season, and he's happy and he's integrated, then I would take Chase and Walker. But you don't know what's going on, and you can't count on Walker to stay healthy. He had a great game week 1. Josh Jacobs, he's banged up. I think he's going to play. I think he's going to be 100%. He's banged up, but look, you're in the NFL. You play the running back position. You're not going to be 100%. I mean, that's just it. You're going to be on the injury report. I think he's going to play. If you tell me Chase 100% and you tell me Walker's going to play and there's no problems with him, I'd take Chase and Walker. With Chase, you risk the chance of him playing against Kansas City. Week 3, you don't know what the hell he's going to do.
I'm just wondering if the Bengals are actually going to if they're going to actually give him what he wants, because it's a Patriot. Yeah. He didn't look. I mean, he got shut down by Christian Gonzalez. Like, he didn't do anything the whole game.
He was in and out of training camp, and one of the reasons why I took the Patriots week 1 is I really think the Bengals circled Kansas City week 2 on their calendar. What happens when you circle a team, you put a line through the other team, and I think that they were kind of overlooking New England, looking forward to Kansas City. I'll be honest with you. I think Jamar Chase is going to put up some numbers at Arrowhead. I mean, nobody wants to see the Bengals win that game. Nobody wants to see that. But yeah, Andre, that's a great question. I don't have a great answer for you because I have no idea what Jamar Chase is going to do. I really don't. I mean, after the Chiefs game, he may sit out for the rest of the year. If Walker stays healthy, I think I'll throw out a hot take. If Walker stays healthy, I think Walker in a PPR league. Now keep in mind the Packers plan on using Josh Jacobs in the passing game as well. But I think in a PPR league, I might go with Walker like this much more, barely.
I guess I have a question just real quick. Like, let's say Jamar Chase plays this game, he sits out the rest of the year. Like, do y'all think that if he doesn't get his money, like, what other teams do you see him going to? That's another good question.
Oh God, yeah, that's a great question. That's a great question. You know, he looked great in the Chiefs uniform. No, I mean, no, hell no.
Not, that would be crazy. I mean, he'd be a good. I mean, shit, that would be crazy.
Yeah, he'll never have.
That'd be
Yeah,
crazy.
Seriously, the team that he'd be a best fit for. Jamar Chase, if he wasn't with the Bengals, the team I think he'd be the best fit for would be your Patriots. I think you just send him up there. Now keep in mind, you'd have to get a little creative there, but if I was Drake May or Jacoby Brissett, I mean, well, I don't know if Jacoby Brissett's going to be there in 2025, but having that legit, finally having a legit number one receiver would be a lot of fun. Trade Pittman for Metcalf. Yeah, I mean,
Shit, yeah, I would. I definitely.
I mean, here's the thing with Anthony Richardson, all the talent in the world, but by the way, Adonde Mitchell there in Indianapolis, like he's gonna, like that dude's going to be a player.
Right. Oh, yeah, sure.
I think Alex Pierce, wide receiver for the Colts, breaks out this season. He could. I have no idea what to expect out of Anthony Richardson. I mean, people are blown away by the highlight reel throws, but 9 out of 19 is never good in the NFL. 9 out of 19 is never good. Just so keep in mind, any. Yeah, the one guy I will say is great. I had another brain freeze. One of Jonathan Taylor. I can't believe I forgot Jonathan Taylor is a guy that is, as long as he stays healthy, he's going to have a big year. He only had, I think, 45, 48 yards against Houston, but he's due for some big he's due for some big games. Yeah, he only caught 4 out of 8, and this is more just Anthony Richardson. I'm not at all happy with what I saw out of the Colts offense. You're gonna say, Dan, they put up 27 against the Texans. Did you see these highlight reels? Yeah, I see 2 or 3 long bombs that are going to be completed like 1 out of 5 times, and I'm seeing quarterback complete less than 50%. But let's see.
I was more disappointed with their defense. I thought they would. I mean, you got Leao. What's his name? Latu. That's his name. They got the draft. Yeah. I thought the defense would be better, but yeah, that was definitely an offensive showdown there.
Yeah. It was a fun game, man. It was a fun game. Is Nico Collins and Kincaid too much for Amon-Ra? If you're in a PPR league, okay, listen. If you're in a PPR league, I'm going to say no, but keep in mind, I like Dalton Kincaid a lot. I have a huge man crush on Nico Collins. Love Nico Collins. I was begging for him to come to Kansas City, and Houston grabbed him in the second round, took some time to develop. Here's a drill, though. You could make this move because Amon-Ra, 3 catches, 14 yards in week 1. I fully expect him to be, between 90 and 100 receptions. Now, is Nico Collins and Dalton Kincaid going to have over 100? Yeah, they are. But Amon-Ra is a legitimate number 1. I want to tell you Collins is a number 1. If you're in a standard league, I would say no. If you're in a PPR league, I would say yes. Yeah, throw that out there. Collins is a star wide receiver. He have an MVP type season. So here's the deal. You got Stephon Diggs that's going to take some away. And the Houston Texans star week 1 was Joe Mixon. Now that's not going to happen, but
yeah, there's too much talent in that. I mean, yeah, it's going to take some of that away from him.
So he's giving me shit. I have to work. I do have to work tonight. Trade Aaron Jones for Olave or just keep what I have. Okay, you're in a PPR league. You have Stevenson. So you have so here's the deal, Keaton. He has Ramondre Stevenson, and he was thinking about trading him. I'm like, no, as long as you have Stevenson and Stevenson's healthy, that's a number 1 number. I would make this move because you need a wide receiver. Chris Olave, two receptions, 11 yards. Keep in mind, as long as Aaron Jones stays healthy, he's the bell cow back. And if you're in a PPR league, he's going to have catches. He's going to have yards. I don't think he's 100%. So I don't think he's going to stay 100% for the whole year. Olave is going to go for 1,000. If you need a receiver and you need some help, because Chris T has Nakuda, and Nakuda, obviously he's going to be out for a couple weeks. Your situation, Chris T, I would, but keep in mind you're going to hate me when Aaron Jones has 125 total yards and 2 touchdowns. Probably not against San Francisco, but down the line he probably will.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Aiden's World has I have Stevenson as a running back and Ridley flex. What do you think, Dan? I mean, if you're choosing between the two, I'm telling you right now, as long as Stevenson, yeah, that's a no-brainer. I mean, the Patriot man's going to agree with me. But,
yeah. Definitely.
I got some pervs hitting on me. I got a guy hitting on me. I got 0-1, obviously a chick hitting on me. Josh Allen, yeah. Have him as my quarterback.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I think he's on crack. I know this is a buddy of mine. He's just messing with me. Yeah, so as you can see here, by the way, he's there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But if I swung the other way, I would be getting tons of dudes. But unfortunately, I don't. I traded GW and Jerome Ford for Justin Jefferson. I've drawn a blank on who GW is. Did I win or lose? Is that a performance piece? Performance piece of a trade. Also, okay. I'm drawing a blank on GW. Yeah, I'm drawing a blank. But okay, so listen. Here's the deal. If you have Dobbins and you have Robinson, You have 2 good running backs. J.K. Dobbins, as long as he's healthy, he's a number 1 running back. I'm going to say this again. As long as you have J.K. Dobbins, as long as he is healthy, he's a number 1 running back. I'm drawing a blank on who GW is. Drawing a complete blank on who GW is.
That's also a big if because Dobbins, I mean, wasn't he come out? Did he come off an injury last year or was it the year before? I thought it was
He's always been injured ever since he came in the NFL. I forget where he went to college at, but I'm joking with the I loved him coming. I had such a man crush of him coming out of Ohio State that but as long as Dobbins is healthy, he's a running back number 1. I'm going to keep saying this over and over again because it sounds crazy because he's been injured more than he's healthy, but when he is healthy, he's as good as it gets. He really is.
Mm-hmm.
4 yards in the first half, finished the game with 130 against a good Raiders defensive line. I'm not sold on the whole defense, but the defensive line's solid. You got Justin Jefferson, a very solid wide receiver. I have no idea who GW is. I feel like I should know that, but
I'm gonna look it up. I gotta look that up.
I'm drawing a blank here, but I will say this: Jerome Ford, once Nick Chubb comes back, is probably going to get less than 10 touches a game. Brian Robinson's a very solid running back. So here's the drill. It looks like early on they're going to use Austin Eckler as more of a slot receiver, and Brian Robinson's going to get a solid 15 to 20 touches. So that's how it looks like early on. I'm not sure how that offense is going to work. I do know this. They're going to. This is the last time Jaden Daniels is going to have 16 carries in a game. I can almost guarantee that.
Go up against good defenses. That's going to go down.
Yeah. He's not running 16 times.
And I was against Tampa Bay's defense. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So, and by the way, I think Tampa was like, yeah, you want to run the ball against us? We're good with that. I think Tampa Bay was fine with that. But Dobbins is Brian Robinson. So yeah, that's a good move. And then Justin Jefferson, he's as good as it gets. But I wish I knew who JW was. Would you trade away Kamara, Rice, and Thomas Jr. to acquire Ramondre Stevenson and Jamar 12-team PPR start 2 wide receivers? Hey, listen, Jackson, man, great question here. Keaton, I'm gonna have you answer this one, and then I'm gonna answer with my opinion.
Will I trade Kamara, Rice, and Thomas? Brian Thomas Jr. is something special. Like, I don't know if you watched him against the Dolphins, but like that dude's has size at his position, and dude can catch and separate all that. He's a really good core. But if I would trade him for Jamar and Ramondre, that's a good question. That's a lot to give up for him, though.
Yeah,
I would say. I don't know if I would say. I don't know if I accept that. I would probably say no to that.
I would definitely say no, and I'll tell you why. Kamara in that Saints offense, more of a run-based offense. You're going to get a lot of carries out of Alvin Kamara. Plus, you can use Kamara in the passing game. It's a PPR league, so Kamara's value in a PPR league is immense. Rice is the number one wide receiver, and it's just a matter of time for Brian Thomas. Brian Thomas Jr. looks like he could be a star.
I mean, he could be a receiver.
Yeah. And keep in mind, Ramondre Stevenson had some issues staying healthy. I'm sorry, Keaton. I mean, I'm just being real. By the way, spoiler alert, I didn't have a chance. Antonio Gibson's a guy that you can pick up on waiver wires. I'm expecting to do a lot more. 7 carries, 18 yards last week. He'll do a lot more this week. I think you'll see more of a 1-2 type approach going forward. And like we mentioned before, Jamar Chase, we don't know what's going on with him. He may play against the Chiefs, sit out the rest of the year. We have no idea.
Yeah, we'll see.
The ruler, who wins this trade? Drake London, Mixon, Jones for CMC. I have CMC. If you got Drake London, Mixon, and Aaron Jones for CMC, I think you won. And the reason why is that you have Aaron Jones, who's I'm assuming it's a PPR league. Aaron Jones, as long as he's healthy, he's going to be fine. CMC may not play next week. All right. Mixon is, 30 carries, 153 yards, and a touchdown last week. Drake London, disappointing, but has the potential. So I think you won this trade. And the main reason why is that CMC didn't play last week. He may not play this week. Keaton, am I right here? Is the ruler win or is he a loser?
No, I agree with that. I agree. I think if you get CMC, you definitely won that. I mean, like I said, with the whole Drake London situation, he didn't have a good, obviously a good game last week. But I think a lot of that had to do with Kirk Cousins being the core. I'm just, like I said earlier, I'm just not sold what the Falcons are doing with getting Cousins and then drafting Penix. Like, what's going on there? Like, I think Kirk Cousins has a lot to do with why Drake London didn't have a good game last year, because he couldn't even really get the ball to him consistently because he was getting – and the offensive line was actually not good at all. Kirk Cousins was taking sack after sack against that good Steelers defense. So it's like – yeah. But, yeah, to answer your question, I would definitely go with CMC there. You definitely would trade as well.
By the way, I have a lot of questions that, since I only have 10 minutes left here, I have a lot of questions that are left unanswered. I'm going to try my best to answer all the questions tomorrow. I'm saving this stream, so if I missed out on your questions, I'll try my best to answer tomorrow. Potential trade: Amari Cooper, Ramondre, Ladd McConkey. I received James Cook and Olave. Okay. I like some things about it. I think James Cook's going to have a great year. I think Ramondre, as long as he stays healthy, is going to put up very similar numbers. I do think Olave is going to give you more than Cooper and McConkey. Keep in mind, I only make this if I'm convinced Ramondre Stevenson's going to break down. But as long as Ramondre Stevenson's healthy, I would not make this move. But I have a lot more faith in James Cook staying healthy than Ramondre Stevenson. And the reason why is that when you're a 245-pound running back and you're running the ball 25 times between the tackles, you're taking an immense amount of punishment. Taking an immense amount of punishment where James Cook is not used the same way. Mm-hmm. I think he's not feeling the same way here. I have a lot of questions that I am leaving unanswered. Yeah. By the way, yeah, Fields is playing here. Man, wondering, should I start Justin Fields versus Purdy this weekend? So you have Purdy. So you have Purdy and you have Justin Fields. Okay. Purdy's going against Minnesota. It's a solid defense there, and Minnesota's tough at home. Okay, Minnesota's tough at home.
They
I just
are
drew a blank on who Pittsburgh's playing.
playing
Pittsburgh's playing Denver.
Broncos. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna go out on. I'm gonna throw something crazy at you. I actually would start Justin Fields over Purdy. I know it sounds nuts, but I think Fields is going to get. I think he's going to get over 50 yards rushing. I think he's also going to have at least one touchdown. It's going to be Purdy in Minnesota. Keaton disagrees with me, but Purdy in Minnesota, I think it's going to struggle a little bit.
See,
but you'll get both ways.
Yeah, I would start. I would flip it. I would start Purdy over Justin Fields, just because I'm not saying Justin Fields is a bad quarterback, but like looking at with the Steelers, they don't play well in Denver for some reason. Like every time they go to Denver, they always end up losing the game. And then Russell Wilson was originally supposed to be your starting quarterback, but then he got hurt. And pretty much Justin Fields was thrown in the fire. Now he has to learn the playbook and all that. So like Russell Wilson would have been a great starter against Denver because he knows Denver and Sean Payton what they like to do. Now you have Justin Fields doing that. We'll see what the Steelers do, but I would put more faith in Purdy this week over Justin Fields just because the decision making and the playmakers around Purdy. So that's just me.
Yeah, those are some great points, and most people will go with Purdy. I would go with Fields, and the reason why is that I think he's going to get over 50 yards rushing, and I think that he will have at least one touchdown. It depends how your league's set up, but if you get bonus for rushing yards, I think Fields will have a good day. And by the way, I do think it's his job to lose. I think if Fields has a really, really good game against Denver and the Steelers win, I think Fields should be the starter. I really do. And if Russell Wilson, I didn't watch the whole game, but I just saw the clips. Russell Wilson looked pissed. I mean, he did not. I would just move on. I really would. Ryan Tannehill's a free agent. He played with Arthur Smith for several years in Tennessee. He knows the offense. He's a free agent. Bring him in. Have him work with Fields. I would move on from Wilson, but the Ski's 86. I think you're right. And I listen. You got two different opinions here, but either one. Let us know what you do. And yeah, he could have 100 yards. Hey, Fletcher, Cox, Breeze, or CMC. CMC may not play. Go with Breeze.
Breeze easily. Yeah.
Do you think Purdy's going to? No, I think Purdy may struggle. Minneapolis, that's a tough place to play, and I like the defense. They keep in mind they shut the Giants down 6 points. That's not special, but I think that they'll play a lot better than the Jets defense did, which I was disappointed about. But like I said, you got two different opinions here. Let me know what you do. Either social media, email, or you can drop a comment in the video. I'm going to answer all these questions, but I'll have to answer most of these tomorrow. Sergio, what moves you recommend me making to better this team? 12-team full PPR, 1 running back, 2 wide receiver, 2 flex required. Quarterback number 1, Lamar, solid. Olave, McLaren, Bijan.
It's a good team.
Hold on here. That's a solid team. Okay, so I have one running back, 2 wide receiver, 2 flex. Okay. So you're going to start Lamar, you're going to start Olave, you're going to start McLaren, and you just need some flex options. Okay. Right off the top, the first thing I see, I would go with ETN. All right, 3 down back. You have lots of different options. I would go with him. Wait a minute. Those are your starters. What moves do you recommend making this team? So these are your starters: Lamar, Olave, McLaren, Bijan, ETN, and then this is your bench. C. Brown, T. Benson's, Cortland Sutton. Well, I wouldn't start any of these guys. I would definitely go with the Ravens defense this week. The Ravens are playing the Raiders. The Raiders, Vegas to Baltimore. for an early game. West Coast teams traveling to the East Coast for an early game usually struggle. The Raiders' offense is not good. I would really, really recommend you starting the Ravens defense this week. You're really going to thank me on that one. I wouldn't change anything else on your team, but if you're starting the Chargers defense over the Ravens defense, that's a mistake. I'm drawing a blank. Who the Chargers play this week? They're playing. Okay, Chargers are playing Carolina, so I get why you want to do that. I really do. Go with the Ravens instead. You'll thank me. Crapshoot, baby. Yeah, it is. It is. Keaton, what are your thoughts on LSU?
LSU. I mean, they're definitely in the mix. I would say they lost to USC last week, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I wouldn't necessarily say LSU is out of the playoffs yet, because like I said, it's 12 teams this year. So like if LSU runs the table for the rest of the season, which they do have a shot at doing, then I could see them being in the playoffs. But it's an interesting conference. Just the SEC as a whole is a very interesting conference. I mean, got them, Alabama, you got Texas now. I mean, it's a loaded conference, so they got to really be on their A game to try to keep themselves in the race for a playoff spot.
Yeah, and keep in mind, LSU runs the table. They, of course, the winner of the SEC gets in, and the winner of the Big Ten gets in. But LSU, even if they don't win the SEC, LSU can get in. But they got to have some big wins. They have to have. I don't know the schedule off the top of my head, but they have to have like a big win against Bama, Georgia, something like that. They have a schedule to do it. But LSU, talented team. The ruler, CMC for Breece Hall and Mike Evans. Who wins the trade? Whoever gets Breece Hall and Mike Evans, you get a legitimate running back number one in Breece Hall. CMC banged up. Don't get me wrong, especially in the PPR league, CMC will put up more numbers in Breece Hall. Maybe because you don't know the injury history. CMC in the past has had issues. Breece Hall last year underrated. I think it was like 76 receptions. Mike Evans, good player. Keaton, I got to end the show now here, but I answer for this question, and then final thoughts before I let you go.
Yeah, to answer your question, I would definitely, like I said, we don't know if CMC is playing this week, so I would definitely not do that. Not do that trade. I would definitely keep Paul and Evans, who obviously two phenomenal players that are going to produce for you each and every single week. So I would keep it as is. I wouldn't trade for CMC. But yeah, but like I said, just thank you for having me on as always. It's always fun doing coming on your shows and talking football. Like I said, if you guys, I've just put out a week 2 prediction video this morning, so go check that out. Keaton Talks Sports. Like, comment, subscribe if you're new. It really helps out the channel tremendously. So just thank you guys for your support. It's good to get to know some of y'all in the chat. So I definitely will be coming on more often, obviously.
I just threw Keaton into the mix here. I'll be honest. This is going to be. I think Wednesdays are just going to be fantasy football, just kind of college football Thursday or something going forward. I got to end the show, but all the questions are answered. I'll answer right away. If you shoot me a message on either Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, or on Instagram, or if you email, I will either answer tomorrow morning or later tonight. Thanks for joining the show. For all of you who didn't have your questions answered, I'll answer them on tomorrow's show right away. First thing I'll do tomorrow. As you're also going to preview a really great Thursday night game. Thanks for joining the show. Can't wait to see you all back tomorrow.
Peace.